All right, I think I got some audio. Let's get ready to go. Let's do this. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, where's the button? There's the buttons, and here's the thing, and there's me. Hey, how are you? Welcome to the show. It's Hal Sparks Megaworldwide, the greatest live stream in the history of live streams ever. And I think that shows taste and breeding on your part that you're even here. I mean, where else are you going to see Hal Sparks, like nobody else can Hal Sparks? By the way, for those of you that don't know who Hal Sparks is, and Hal Sparks is not a sufficient answer. Let me just tell you, when you hear about the deep state, that's me. When you hear about the establishment, also me. So if you see people freaking out and bitching about either of those two things, they're talking about me. Just letting you know. So just, let you know. Now, first of all, hi chat room. You guys are awesome. Welcome to the show. Love you guys. Very excited that you're here. Key frame rate 1.4, recommended 2. What the hell is up with the keyframes on maybe that's the issue we're having with YouTube. Maybe it's got a weird thing. All right. Yes, I am the deep state. You might not, I might not hit bottom, but I'll scrape the shit out of the sides. And this is the important thing. Look. I have finally gotten back to the gym enough after my shoulder that I feel like I'm almost healed, and it's almost been a year. Welcome to your 50s, gentlemen. But I was able to actually do all of the exercises that I used to normally do all the time without going, oh, that's going to break. Because I had a major injury last year in the fall. It was technically late November, early December when it actually happened, but still, we're getting there. It's very exciting. I was very happy today because I've been very cautious because I believe in long-term healing. You don't need to know this. It's just important that if you're going to be in a situation like that, you're going to want to warm up more. Okay, you're going to want to ease into that stuff, right? If you're in a real fight or a real emergency, your body will kick in a bunch of adrenaline and other shit that always shows up when you're in those situations. Okay, but if you're just working out at the gym, you don't have that. Unless, I guess, you go to the spookiest fucking gym in the world, in which case there's somebody out there just going, bah! And your body's like, you go into fight or flight, But if you're working out, warm that shit up. So, now, I have a challenge that I'm going through as over time doing this show. There have been news ebbs and flows, people. There's been elements of the news where you're like, it's not as crazy as it's been. It's certainly not sane, but I might have to reach down deep and pull some entertainment up because maybe the topics are a little drier than they have been. Maybe take a little more time to massage the comedy out of it or even explain the basic underlying principle, right? Yeah, that's not my problem right now. My problem right now is just the fire hose of insanity coming out of Trump land. And let me show you. Let me just kick off with what I'm talking about. Okay, so remember during the debate, Harris, and by the way, thank you guys. Don't forget, super chats, always welcome. There's the Venmo, if that's your favorite thing. If you don't have any way to give or support the show, here's how you give to the show. Breathe deep, relax, and let me show you how everything's going to be all right. You know what I mean? Because that's a gift you can give to me just by letting me know that I took the weight off a little bit, that I, through my comedic and, quite frankly, intellectually honest and genius takes, help lift that burden. And that's what I'm here for, kids. All right, now, so help if you can, whatever. And thanks to our mods for helping us deal with the huge, by the way, huge influx of new chatters who are, happy to be here and meaning, what they say, and the trolls and maggots that show up going, "Nuh-uh," right? Which, by the way, we welcome. I want to remind everybody right out of the gate, maggots, trolls, we know you're there, and I want you to know that you are welcome here. Obviously, your racial epithets and your disgusting opinions about things aren't necessarily, but you as a human being might be salvageable, and consider this your off-ramp back into the neighborhood of normal. But while you're here, if you do write something in there, all I ask is that you lay off the N-words and stuff, and the anti-gay epithets that start with an F, and those kind. If you just steer clear of those, you can get all your bullshit in, and it'll stay posted, right? Use your big bigot words. Sure. That works. That's all I ask, right? So, anyways, welcome to the show. So let me show you what I'm doing. So during the debate, Harris did many things that were brilliant, but one of them was recommending that people watch a Donald Trump rally and watch how people start walking out in the middle of them and they're bored as shit, right? And she's absolutely right. And by the way, I think more than any other talking point that came up, that's the one they got from me. I'm saying the people in the White House and around the campaigns know full well that I've been pushing this for a long time, that watch the whole thing. Don't grab a little snippet and assume that, oh, that was crazy, but the rest of it's completely cool. So you're like, he's got it together. That was just one thing. No, the whole thing is just blather. It's self-involved, nonsensical, it's boring. It's all the things, that she brought up. Like, people are walking out, and this is true. Even his own followers have gotten tired of this shit. And I was on the forefront of reminding everybody, like, that's why I did the whole, when we would do a Trump rally, we do the whole fucking thing. So he was just in Arizona this afternoon, today, whatever. Now, one of the things that, by the way, it's Hal Sparks Megaworldwide, in case you're sharing it out there. Megaworldwide being one word, just letting you know. Anyway, so one of the things they've been trying to do to clean up the mess that Donald Trump, I was going to say has made, but just is. He's a mess. He's a fucking mess. He's a mess. Is that they keep trying to get him to do these tighter, smaller, non-rally kind of get-togethers, because they can't pull the crowd they used to. But that's what they tell him. And they're about a particular theme, right? Usually the economy or the border or whatever is the idea. That he's going to come in and go, here, this is about policy. People have been saying, Scott Baio said stick to policy. So Trump and his team went, yes, Chachi, you got it. And they started setting up this, oh my good Lord, Chris, thanks for welcoming the trolls. Bless your heart. Thank you so much. And Last Bricks as well. Bless you. Oh, good Lord. And welcoming the trolls so wonderfully, after all they've been through, So let me tell you something. Wow, holy shit. Like, we got like 7,000 people piling in here. It's pretty nuts. And I'm very proud of that fact, and welcome, and I'm glad you're here. Now, they've been putting him on these, this little mini tour where he's supposed to stick to policy. He never does. It's always the same shit. They put that stuff in the teleprompter. He mentions some of it, and then he's got a stack on top of it because he just can't believe that voters give a fuck about anything of substance. That it's really just, if you can just trigger them and freak them out, it's just like a TV show. They will tune in next time. And he doesn't realize that people are more impacted. Like, unlike a TV show, you could just stop watching it. You can't stop watching your life. Your life continues. And if policies are in place that will fuck you up or somebody you love or know, it matters, right? And he can't quite get that, okay? He can't quite grasp that reality. Because, I'm sure there's been a lot of deep psychobabble about him, and how he was raised. But quite frankly, he's a grown man. He doesn't give a shit. Yeah. Oh, that was a 16. That's right. 11640. Oh, bless you. That's so great. 164. That's so awesome. So this is, you can see from this sign, this is about make housing affordable again. I think that's how it's pronounced. Right? MHAA. Again, and housing wasn't affordable before. We were still like 6 million units low while he was president. It's just stupid. And by the way, you want to make housing affordable again? Real quick. I've solved it. Come here. Before we even get into this shit. I can stay on topic even if he can't. You know how you make housing affordable in the United States? You make LLCs that buy and sell real estate have to show who they are and where the money came from. You get rid of the opaque nature of real estate LLCs, and all the foreign and cartel money will evaporate in a fucking second. Because they're sitting on, and it isn't, again, it isn't even about like BlackRock or one of these companies, that's one of these large companies or whatever. It's about like a myriad of these medium-sized shell company LLCs. Trump has 1,500 LLCs. 600 of them are flush with Russian money that he got from someplace else, and it's just for a bank account. And that bank account buys a piece of property, sits on it, and does nothing with it, driving up the price and the value of every house around it. So you buy 5 houses on a row, you rent out or sell 4 of them, and then the 5th one just rises along with them, and you keep it vacant so you never have to kick anybody out. And you do it in these high dollar areas like California and New York, where there's a ton of like squatters' rights laws and all kinds of stuff that might make it hard to sell, so you keep them empty on purpose. The Chinese have been doing it with buildings in downtown Los Angeles. They've been doing it in downtown in New York. That's what you do. There's other reasons, normal ones, like build more houses, lower interest rate. All that is true, but none of them, none of these little measures that are in the logical world of buying and selling houses, or giving people, help with their down payment, or a tax break on their first home. All of that stuff is dwarfed by the overwhelming bullshit money cash buys that are sitting on top of a bunch of empty houses and empty buildings that nobody gets to be in, and that they just ride up the market until such time as they want to sell them. And you know what they do? They sell them to another LLC that's just like them, full of foreign money, for cash, and bail out. It's money laundering. These are homes. They should be lived in. And if somebody's just going to buy like 3 houses on a block and leave them fucking empty and pay, baseline maintenance, turn off the water and the electricity, have a security, management company drive by it every fucking 3 weeks, have somebody mow the lawn just to keep the HOA off their back, and then it drives up the cost of every house in the neighborhood because there's less supply. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Like all this other stuff by comparison, fucking window dressing. And by the way, it won't surprise you that the Biden administration and the state of New York and the state of California are working on legislation to do just that. And if you want to pick one thing besides going to jail that Donald Trump fears most about losing this election and happening in the next during the next term of the next president, it's that. Because you start cracking open those real estate LLCs, holy fuck, you're going to see a cockroach scatter like a shock scene from The Walking Dead. Now, back to what I was saying. All right, here we go. So this is him supposed to be doing this thing, and he's, proud to be American. Comes out, does a song. Now, this, by the way, this is in a theater in Tucson. I don't know if it says where it is, but this looks like the theater that the Sexy Liberal Comedy Tour is coming to in Arizona. They're in Tucson, so we're in Phoenix. We're in Phoenix proper. But it's basically the same size as the theater we just played in Portland, for example. And we have crowds this size, but we charge money. We're a comedy show that sells tickets. And we have a fiery, happy, joyous, loud crowd that paid to enter the building. Everybody in this building went for free. And some of the people there, quite frankly, some of the people on the stage, more than likely, were paid by the campaign to be there. Not only is it free, they're literally writing checks to people to get them to sit in strategic places so they can use it. Yeah. Melted Cheetah, yes, we were just in PDX, and I had a Nerd Halen show and everything. Welcome, we'll be back, don't worry. And I also had to do CPR on a man who sadly passed away. We think it was a aneurysm ultimately, but yeah, that's true. That was a big weekend. It was that was a crazy fucking 3 days, Portland. Way to live up to the legend. Shit. But it was great to see Tara Dublin in person, who's lovely. Okay, here we go. Now, listen to the. Let's just go through the opening of this, because in the old days, I could just pop this in and we'd just do this all night. And there's a piece of it that I want to show you. I just didn't. I heard it like coming in here, and I think it's in the very beginning. But well, I'll show you. Whatever.
This is a rambunctious crowd.
This is a rambunctious crowd. Yeah, they're just glad to get in and out of the heat.
Well, hello, Tucson. It's great to be with you. I love this place. We've been very successful here, as you know, and I'm thrilled to be back in the great state of Arizona with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots.
I'm proud to be with proud, hardworking American patriots is, by the way, in every speech.
That's why this is a nice group. I like it. Look at all those people. Wow.
I guarantee, as someone who's spent more time on stage than he has, he can see that there are people, but he cannot see the people. He can't see them. The house lights are down. He can't see them. He knows they're there. He might have seen them from the side and he's referencing them, but he cannot physically see them. It is darker than even the first, maybe 20 rows of the audience that you could see from light from the stage.
As everyone saw 2 nights ago, we had a monumental victory over Comrade Kamala Harris in the presidential debate.
He really sounds like he believes it. We had a monumental win over Comrade Kamala Harris. It's too many letters. Just not the right. I gotta fucking work on that. It's just Crooked Hillary just was so quick, but Comrade Kamala. I'm gonna end up doing the fucking. I'm gonna have a tongue twister on this shit, and then people are gonna make fun of me because I'm gonna come out and say something like
free health care for illegal. Look,
and it's just gonna sound like shit, anyways. And I know I didn't read the. I didn't win, and everybody knows it.
Here I am like an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
We won big with independent voters, moderates, Republicans, and working people all across this nation, putting forward a clear vision to...
Okay, all right, at this point, not only did he not watch, whoever wrote this didn't watch the fucking the debate at all, a clear vision. That's adorable. They're eating the dogs. Nothing could be clearer. Not only did the person who wrote this speech not watch the debate, but I'm not even sure if Trump remembers what happened.
Very simply, make America great again.
By the way, he hates that phrase, and he wanted CAG, Keep America Great, and everybody outvoted him, and it wasn't his phrase to start with. And there are a couple of times, we've seen this over the years, where he starts to go, somebody said, this again. I was like, MAGA, what is MAGA? I don't know what MAGA is. And I don't even like it. But it really grew on people. And you like MAGA? Let's do a poll. Do you like MAGA or CAG? Like, it's just so lame.
Meanwhile, Kamala Harris showed up spewing empty rhetoric, the same old lies, meaningless platitudes, offering no plans, no policies, and no...
Really, actually, the only specific plans or policies were presented by Harris. The $25,000, assistance for people buying their first home, $6,000 for people in the first year of their child's life for a tax credit, and then the regular tax credit from that point on, because that's the idea. Is you put the child tax credit in for about $3,500 and $6,000 for the first year of life because it's the most expensive, right? That's the idea, and that's an actual plan. That is actually something she presented. That it is the only thing. Meanwhile, this asshole is like, I got concepts of a plan.
Details whatsoever, nothing.
Literally, there were details.
The two anchors, David Muir and Lindsay Davis, sat there and only
they called out my lie that doctors bang babies' heads on tables and then throw them in the garbage after birth.
Corrected me on things where I was right, but didn't correct Kamala on Project 25 that I knew nothing about.
Real quick, shithead. It's Project 2025, and you can't evade a lie detector test by changing the details of the thing you're being asked. So, of course, you've never heard of Project 25. Neither have I. There is no Project 25. Of course, you have nothing to do with Project 25, you fucking moron. It doesn't exist. It's Project 2025. Does it matter? Yeah. It does. Because it seems like you're trying to weasel out of it. I never even heard of this Project 25. Yeah, that's because you're the first person fucking saying it. What about Project 2025? Oh shit. Yeah, that's my guys.
On the bloodbath hoax that has been totally debunked, which had to do with the automobile industry that is going.
Oh, sorry. That's you're stuck on the wrong lie. That's the first lie Don Jr. came up with after you said bloodbath because the immigrants are going to slaughter everybody. You're talking about immigrants bring terror and murder and rape and terrorism, and that you don't worry about the cars because people are going to be slitting throats all over the country. That's what you meant by it. But you tried to cover it with bloodbath in the auto industry. That was the initial lie. Then later on, it became it's just a general word said about economics.
Going to be dying. It's dying under this administration. They're all going to be shipped out to China. And everybody in the automobile industry manufacturing automobiles, vote for Trump. We're going to bring back that industry. These people are killing it.
How? How are they killing it? What are they killing? What are they killing? How are they killing it? Because, car sales are up. You couldn't get a hold of a car. They have an inventory problem, if anything.
She talked about knowing it was all false. She talked about the Charlottesville hoax, and these people did nothing.
Oh, you mean the hoax that you didn't say they're fine people on both sides, and the next sentence after it cleaned it all up? Because you're saying, yeah, there's people with tiki torches yelling, Jews will not replace us. But amongst that crowd was some lady in an old dress going, I just think it's about our heritage. That shit, yeah, that's your cover, asshole?
About it, which has been totally debunked, as they say, by Snopes and Snoops and everybody else.
That's what I was talking about. That's what I wanted to show you. There's no Snoops. Snoops. There's no website called Snoops. Now, I think he literally. Well, we'll back up and hear the whole thing. He thinks it's really Snoops. He thinks Snopes, he doesn't know what that means. He knows what snooping is, so therefore he thinks that's the real word. So from the D-O-double-G. So apparently this is all, it's a big plot to put Snoop Dogg on the Voice and then get Taylor Swift to endorse Kamala, something like that. Anyway, so Snoops or Snopes, and then he doesn't go back to Snopes. He pulls a full, old man talking interwebs.
Charlottesville hoax, and these people did nothing about it, which has been totally debunked, as they say, by Snopes and Snoops and everybody else. And go look it up. Go to Snoops, whatever the hell that is.
He thinks the thing he's reading says Snoops. He's looking right at it. S-N-O-P-E-S, and he thinks that spells Snoops. And you can tell that he really believes it because he has never heard of it, he thinks, which he absolutely has. How do you not know what Snopes is if you're running for office and you're especially been fact-checked as much as he has? Get the fuck out of here. Look at his face. He has no fucking idea. He has no fucking idea.
No, I hear that's a liberal site, and they came out totally in favor of me. This got to be a bad thing, but they said they gave you total phony stories. Kamala Harris said.
Yeah, Snoops is a totally liberal site. I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard Snoopy, not as much as Woodstock, but certainly
that no state allows abortion in the 9th month, which is a complete and total lie. They do.
Yeah, for the life of the mother. So, all right, we don't need to do this whole thing because I got too much shit to cover, and that's the issue that I was dealing with, chat room. But let me say something. If you are a pro-lifer, if you are pro-life and you call yourself pro-life and you're the most pro-life person ever, and you're pro-lifing at all the fucking pro-life time, I'd like to tell you that, and I don't actually have to tell you, you're that pro-life, you know this, that if you are for exceptions for the case of rape, incest, and life of the mother, the rape and incest abortions happen in the first trimester. Maybe in the case of a woman who's been chained in her fucking basement and sexually assaulted by a father or a stepfather or an uncle or somebody like that who escaped and needed an abortion past the first trimester, that's rarely when you're going to get it. The drop off after the first trimester for abortions is a fucking cliff. But if you're giving abortions to save the life of the mother, the majority of those are happening in the third trimester, and they are 0.01% of abortions. If you are for an exception for the life of the mother, then you are for abortions in the 9th month, because that's the time when she's trying to give birth and something terrible goes wrong, and the only way to save her is to sacrifice what's left of the fetus, as it might be, yes, there are ectopic ones too, but the vast majority. I'm talking about all the late-term abortions. There are no, last minute, I don't want to have a kid. There are none. All of them. At 7, 8, 9 months, a baby is viable, and if born alive, will not be murdered. No, exactly. That's called a C-section. In the 7th, 8th, and 9th month, if they decide they don't want to, have a baby in them anymore because they're fucking crazy or something like that, they get a C-section. The baby is put up for adoption, and again, this is fantastical. Never happens. But the point is, Donald Trump says that there are no. She says there's no abortions in the 9th month. Nobody ever said that. There are no elective abortions in the 9th month, nor should there be. But if you are for the exceptions for life of the mother, then you are for abortions in the 9th month, because that's when those happen. The majority of those happen then. In the last 3 months, that's when they discover something is terribly wrong, the fetus is not viable, and it's gonna kill the woman. So if you're for that exception, you support late-term abortions, because that's what they're for. That's the only thing they're for. The other thing, you know what cuts down on abortions more than anything else? You know what the greatest solution, I guess the second greatest besides abstinence, which, it's very difficult, is contraception. That would seem like the thing, right? Maybe just the availability of contraception. How about this? How about male contraception? Yeah, reversible vasectomies, I'm for it. Yeah. Trump thinks the afterbirth is a person. He thinks the placenta is a living being. Yeah. He doesn't care. He doesn't think any of this shit. He just says the words that make people react. All these words are him just yelling boo into a microphone. He has no idea what any of this shit is about. Every pregnancy starts with a penis. Yeah, but and an egg. Right? That's like saying every... if men, I don't know, if men just masturbate, there's no baby either. That starts with a penis. It's both people involved. That's always, I don't know, that's a weird pushback. That doesn't land, kids. What I'm telling you, though, is maybe be for contraceptives, because that would actually stop, an actual pregnancy before it starts, and therefore... If men are sterile, there's no baby. If women are sterile, there's no baby. What are you talking about? Takes two to tango, baby. Yeah, there are no master babies. That's right. There's a male pill now. Not quite. They're testing one. It's not out yet. Because believe me, you want to talk about the conversation that's going to shift from parents giving the pill to their son instead of their daughter, which will be, will be an increasingly normalized situation. because they're not going to take them down and have fucking surgery and put that little vasectomy switch in your testicles, which they literally talk about that. I'm like, that's just like, you wouldn't go into a woman's abdomen and go, we're gonna do this temporary tube tie in you. It's a terrible idea. But if you could come up with something that, that a functional contraceptive for both sides that worked evenly, be a great thing. Just saying. Love that. Master babies? Yes, there have been none that we know of. All right, so do we do the rest of the Trump speech? No, because you're not going to get any. It's the same shitty stuff. He just bitches about. This is his make housing affordable again. Also, by the way, I'll point out here real quick. Make housing affordable again. Make housing affordable again. No tax on tips. Okay, he's putting this around. Now, he does not make a distinction about no tax on tips, that it is for the hospitality industry. So under his plan, all the money that Bob Menendez got from the Egyptian government would be tax-free. I'm serious. That's why he doesn't make that distinction. And it's why the Harris campaign made the distinction. Hospitality industry. Yeah, you tip waiters and drivers and people who you're interacting with. They're service professionals, right? Okay, so make housing affordable again. He goes nowhere near making housing affordable again in the entire speech. It's in there. It's in the teleprompter more than likely. It kind of has to be, right? You'd think. Then just blows it off. He talks to Carrie Lake at one point, and he blathers on, and he says Snopes at the beginning of it. And he just bitches about the debate. Somebody in the chat room just said, who would rely on a man to take the pill regularly? I got to tell you, getting men to take the pill is not the hard part. I'm just saying. If it was available, holy shit. Every dude I know would be like, put it in a smoothie. Let's do this. As long as I get an erection and still ejaculate, I give a shit, right? That's how it's going to be. I'm just telling you. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that stuff, right? There's a pill for men, NyQuil PM. Oh, is that what you do with your kids too, you monster? Okay, so it's mommy's little helper. Just give him some NyQuil, some Benadryl. Let him pass out on the couch. Benadryl's worked its magic. He's ready to go to bed. Let's do this, honey. All right. Darling, as Trump says. Okay, now, why would I do an entire Trump speech? We've seen it all before. It's the same lame blather, only slower and more annoying. Why would I inflict that on the audience of the greatest live stream ever, Hal Sparks Megaworldwide? Why? When I have Gene the Jesus Machine and his fellow cohorts over at Flashpoint interviewing Trump behind the scenes and creating their own little mini documentary as part of the interview so they can cut around all the parts that might get their network shut down. So for those of you who don't know, Flashpoint is run by the Copeland Ministries. That's the preacher who said, famously, screamed at the reporter because she asked him why, people are starving, why he has 2 airplanes. And then he just kind of lost his shit. And then he's also the one who went, Joe Biden really won the election? Ha, 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 ha. And ran around stage like that. He's just super fucking weird. Anyways, he owns this thing, and it's a political network posing as a religious one. And so he doesn't pay any taxes on it, but it's there for a political purpose. It's fucking gross. Yeah. So, anyways, they do an interview with Trump backstage someplace. Oh, before we get into this, I also must do this. The last clip we did, the microphone, because of the angle they were using, largely covered Trump's nunt, okay? This will not be the case, I'm guessing, in this interview. This is done backstage, and they're moving around a little bit. So at some point, I'm just letting you know, you're going to catch a glimpse of nunt, and you might, I don't know what you do to cope. Maybe a bag, just have a bag in case you have to throw it over your head, something like that. But you're going to see Trump's nunt at some point. The end is for neck. You'll figure the rest of it out, chat room. Okay, here we go. So this is Gene the Jesus Machine interviewing, exclusive interview and commentary, which means they had to patch, they had to fill in the gaps. They had to caulk shut the holes he put in his own argument. But let's see how it goes. By the way, I've not pre-watched this at all. Just letting you know.
And we caught up with him in Charlotte, North Carolina. Watch.
Thank you.
Please do not block these doors. So he's staying at the Hilton. Thanks for letting us know. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
What an honor from you.
With me now, President Trump. Thank you, sir, for joining us here on Flashpoint. Listen.
Thank you, Gene. Gene the Jesus. By the way, real quick, is Gene the Jesus Machine 6? He'd have to be what, 6'7"? Right? Look at this. This is fucking his glasses. I mean, there's certainly a little bit of angle here, but maybe Trump's just shrinking.
So I just got a few questions. Okay. We're here in Charlotte. Fraternal Order of Police.
Yeah.
4 years ago, defunding the police was the biggest thing going on. That's all we heard about.
Right.
No, you heard it from a few quarters, and you guys artificially lifted it up to act like everybody was participating in it when they weren't. You wanted to paint the entire Democratic Party with this.
But yet you're here. Talk about how important it is for Americans to fund the police again.
Well, it really is defunding the police. She wants to defund the police. My new opponent, we had an opponent and he was gone. And now we have a new opponent and she's a defunder. She's an original.
She's an original defunder. You know what? Look, I'll give you. He has the best words, but they're the best words to laugh at. It's not the tool's fault if it's it's not a Phillips fault if you have a flathead screw. You know what I mean? You can have the best Phillips screwdriver in the world, but if you got a flathead screw, it's hilarious, especially if you keep trying. That's what we have here. He's got the best words, but these are all square peg words and trying to come out the round hole of his butthole mouth.
No, I want to overfund the police, if anything. They're doing a great job. I was not a defunder like Kamala. She was a defunder. She was a 10-year defunder.
Yeah, defunder's not a word.
When you want to defund for 10 years, that's the end of that one. I think I could leave right now and you say there's no way that we're not voting for that guy. I promise you.
He didn't want to be there. Whenever he says, I got to leave right now, he didn't want to do it in the first place.
I will never tell you we're going to defund the police. I will only tell you that we might overfund the police. We'll be over budget. So, no, the police.
Wait, if you're over budget, that's bad. Also, overfunding, I mean, I get where he's going. He's exaggerating for the sake of it, but you will always have everything you need to do that. You can say this in a smart, gentlemanly way, but he's just being a dick. If they're overfunding it, what does that just? That just means he'll create a slush fund for local police departments from Washington, I guess. Is that this is all horseshit. But if you try to make shape of it, if you try to go, fuck is that?
Police, it's a great honor. We're getting their endorsement from all over the country. I mean, everyone, every police department, every police group. And today is
no, just the FOP. And they're not every police group.
Really big one.
It is.
We really appreciate you being here. Got to meet a lot of you backstage. Just amazing people. All you want to do is see our country be safe and prosperous. And we want to love our country and we want to have reason to love it.
And some of you want to use your taser on a suspect's balls who may later on turn out to be innocent, but that's not the important thing. The important thing is getting what you want to hear, not just the facts in some cases. And some of you are clearly here because of this. Again, by the way, I'd like to remind everybody that this is a Fraternal Order of Police thing. He got the endorsement of them. But not everybody in the Fraternal Order of Police even show up at this thing, nor would they. So he's got a self-selecting group of a self-selecting group. Do you understand? They didn't have a fucking gathering like the opening of the movie The Warriors. Okay, this is a tight group of that tight group specifically who are hoping he lets them just beat people up and beat confessions out of people and shove cases away because they don't really care in some cases who's to blame. They just want to, okay, case solved, fuck it, who cares? The guy who died wasn't important, and the person who killed him, I've been wanting to get him off the street. Like, that's the way they're thinking. Like, we should go back to that. And by the way, that's how Trump thinks everything works.
The people of...
Also, McJet, no. ACAB is bullshit. Fuck you. No. Fuck the ACAB people. Piss off. You don't let this asshole make monsters out of people whose normal day is the worst day of your life. The worst thing you've ever experienced, they come and clean up. Fuck the ACAB people. Go away. You understand? Somebody threw it in the chat. Most people, I think, were cool. But again, when you got the greatest live stream in the history of the world, I don't need a couple of extra people who want to walk up to the next female police officer you see, who's about to go on a domestic violence call, who might end up dying because it's the most dangerous thing they deal with, who might get shot or stabbed trying to protect a woman from the man that's beating her. And follow them to that call. And then as they're rolling the other police officer out on a gurney, go ACAB. Fuck you. Like, it's gross. It's gross. Just letting you know, I would like to say. Just like to say. You want, occasionally it's good that I come up and I stick a fucking flag in the ground. That's one of them. Luis, sorry, most cops are asshole homeowners. No, they aren't. And I don't want you, if that's true, ACAB, not ACAP. ACAB is what they're saying. If you believe that, then I don't want to hear you bitching about DUIs. Right? So fuck everybody who's had somebody die because there wasn't a cop to pull over the DUI on their way to run over somebody. I guess that's also your opinion. No, 100% no. And this guy does not get the white supremacists don't get to take the OK symbol and ruin one of the greatest shots from Beverly Hills Cop ever, right? They don't get to do that. They don't get to steal the fucking OK symbol and go, this now means white supremacy. Fuck you. I recognize we're never going to get the Chaplin mustache back, and the fucking Tibetans are going to have to deal with the fact that their peace symbol was reversed and turned into the most monstrous symbol in the history of man. But but from that point on, no. They don't get freedom. They don't get the flag. None of that shit. They don't get to have the flag. You don't get to have it. You don't get to claim freedom when you're against a woman's right to choose. And you believe that a woman should, facing an ectopic pregnancy, should bleed to death in a fucking parking lot. And you don't get it. Nope. Yeah, Alyosher. See? That's it. See how easy it is, Alyosher? You're absolutely right. No ACAB, and no police brutality. Exactly. So, anyways, here we go. Let's go to, all right, let's go back to this thing. That triggers me. And it's largely because I have law enforcement in my family and I've seen what they've gone through. I've watched them during COVID, watching funerals on fucking Zoom for people that were shot trying to get, stop gun runners. No. This is serious shit.
Of this country.
Louis, 54, your hall needs monitoring.
Know it. We know all about you and the great job that you do.
No, he doesn't.
And the people of this country respect you greatly for it. So I just want to thank you on behalf of everybody, because I see it. I'm all over. And this is a group that's respected like never before. That's why I'm...
This is a group that's respected like never before. It's the exact opposite. This group, that it lost a lot of its standing because it backed him. He's a felon and a rapist, right? So
deeply honored to receive the...
He scarred their reputation.
The Fraternal Order of Police
official endorsement for President of the United States. Thank you all very much in the room. I know you vote on that.
Now, the regular police forces in the United States, and this might shock some of you, are 50, sometimes 60% minority. Black, Latino, Asian, and by sex, it's closer to 80-20, about 20% female, 80% male. Do you notice anything about this crowd, though? Again, we're talking about the self-selecting groups within the self-selecting groups.
Thank you very much.
Notice that? Notice that? You got some wives and you got some female cops, I have no doubt, that are mixed in there. But look at the skin tone of everybody there, much less the people on the fucking dais up there with him.
Great honor for you.
One. I see one black guy. There he is. He's way in the back. Oy.
Years ago, we talked to you.
Fucking one. And he's in the back. It's just so on the nose.
About religious liberty. Right. We talked to you about freedom of speech. And since your presidency, freedom of speech, freedom of religion has all been attacked.
Yes.
No, it has not. How? What churches are being shut down? Sorry if the government didn't want old people to gather in buildings with no ventilation during a fucking pandemic when most of them were the biggest, they were the biggest death toll came in the age group that goes to church regularly.
In a bigger way. So when you...
In no way whatsoever. In no fucking way. And by the way, you notice how they're showing footage of them having to have church groups outside during COVID.
You come into office, how are you going to help us with that?
Well, we're going to open it up. We're also opening up to religion.
Hold on. Are they baptizing a dude in the fountain in Vegas? The fuck? The irony. Hold on. Let's hear what Trump's answer is. The man who's never read the Bible and couldn't recite a Bible verse if it was just Jesus wept.
Come into office, how are you going to help us with that?
Well, we're going to open it up. We're also opening up to religion because the radical left had made COVID really a way to hurt religion. And
the radical left made COVID a way to hurt religion by, I guess, not allowing old Christians to meet Jesus sooner. I guess, is that what it is? The radical left, with all their rules about masking and distance and not having churches open, kept all these people from going to heaven as quickly as possibly.
You couldn't, even if you went out into an open field and you were 10 feet away, they would come and arrest everybody. They
did not come and arrest everybody if you were out in a field. You were president at the time, you fucking dipshit. You were president. You were.
They went crazy, and
They did not go crazy. Nobody went crazy. There was nobody was fucking rounded up. What are you talking about? Not a single person was arrested for an outdoor church gathering. What are you talking about? Not one. Not ever. Not once. Not like there are lies he tells, and then there's this just like, woo, like just make it up. Like at this point, can you imagine being this fearless in being full of shit? Imagine, I mean, how freeing it must be to just be completely like know that you're being interviewed by someone, always being interviewed by someone in his case, by someone who will just, whatever you say, they'll just let it roll. No wonder he had such a fucking reaction to the debate being checked on it, because everywhere else, he's fucking free-balling these lies everywhere. You think Gene the Jesus machine is going to correct him? Even though, Gene, you're, by allowing him to say that through omission and not pushing back on it, you are bearing false witness, which I'm fairly certain is a bad one.
I really think that's one of the big problems we have with our country right now in terms of crime and attitude and everything else. So
churches were closed during COVID, so that's the problem with the country, with crime and attitude and everything else. Yeah, we need one of those Jesus attitude adjustments. Attitude. These kids today,
We ought to bring religion back into our country and let it get stronger and bigger and better, as I say.
Yes, I know you're saying it. I just don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
And that's going to happen. But it's...
By the way, yeah, somebody just pointed out the Nunt is extraordinary today. I don't know what happened. I don't know if maybe he was just carrying a bunch of shit in his Pelican and he just took it all out and it just hasn't snapped back a little. But shit.
I think it's a very important element of the success of this country. You want to run a...
I think it's a very, like, the generic, like, it's so, like, it's just pap. He's just, like, it's like he's intentionally trying to test how fucking vague he can be right to this guy's face, knowing that and again, it's Gene, the Jesus machine. So I don't know how far the depth of his faith goes, but allegedly it should be far deeper than any of ours because he has dedicated his life as a minister, right? Right? It's almost like Trump's like testing him. Like, yeah. Fucking, yeah, the thing you do, you dedicate your life to, it's got good parts to it. And people should know more about it. It's great. And it's greatness. There's so much great stuff about it. What specifically is great about it? You know, it's just how there's a lot of it and people's attitude about it. And I think it should be bigger and there should be more of it. Like, it's like he's fucking with him, except he isn't because he's just being a liar.
Democratic country. You want to run a country that is based on fair and free voting. You're in serious trouble if you get caught trying to find out what are the real results of an election. It's an amazing thing. Do you ever see that?
Jesus Christ. He's talking to the Fraternal Order of Police, and he can't even let it go. All right. You got to remember, his big sales point is migrant crime. There's migrant crime everywhere, and violent crime is up because because drugs, and we don't have any rules anymore, and nobody respects the police and defund, blah, blah, blah. Right? You can't fill a fucking speech with just anecdotal stories about rape and murder and your own attitude and I mean, well, I was just about to say policies. But what's the policy then? Overfund the police isn't anything. So what does he mean? I guess the assumption is that he's just going to he's going to give immunity. I don't know how you do that. On a federal level, I guess he could do it. But states have the right to charge police officers with murder if they kill somebody, as they should. What's he going to do? Make that illegal? How? It's just silly.
They go after the people that are looking at the crime.
No, they don't. There was no crime, stupid. The people who you go after the people who are looking at the crime. You're the one attacking judges, dum-dum.
And they do terrible things to them, but...
Yeah, they accused the FBI that was, executing a lawful search warrant at Mar-a-Lago of rifling through your wife's panty drawers, right? Shitty stuff like that, you mean? They do stuff like that drives somebody to open fire at the Cincinnati FBI office?
The people that committed the voter fraud and everything, they can do whatever they want to do.
Technically, no, they cannot. And a bunch of them went to jail. And the vast majority of them, the biggest group was in the villages in Florida. There was only one group that was coordinated and caught doing coordinated voter fraud. It was in the villages. It was like 8 people tried to vote 3 or 4 times. That's the only group that was busted, where they could actually connect the dots and do all that stuff. Only one. Yeah, and I'm guessing, was it 6? There you go. Yeah. 6 fucking people in the villages, right?
So crazy.
And we're sure that and once those people got arrested, now everybody can put out their Harris signs. You ever notice that? Like, that's really interesting. So the people, like the fucking criminals in the villages who tried to vote multiple times, right? They got arrested and they went to fucking jail. Some of them got like 4 or 5 years, right? And now that they're in jail, there's now the villages are for Harris, because those people feel like, oh, I can fucking put a sign in my yard without this asshole who tried to vote 3 times tearing my sign up and throwing rocks through my fucking window. It's weird. You get rid of the 3 loud fucking Trumpers in your neighborhood, suddenly everybody's cool with having a Harris sign on their lawn again.
Let's talk about that nasty Johnson amendment that I have to deal with.
Oh, that's true.
So what's going to happen with that?
So you had the Johnson Amendment. Lyndon Johnson put in an amendment making it very difficult for people like yourself, who we all respect so tremendously.
Yes, tell us, what does it do? Explain the Johnson Amendment to us. This is, I gotta say, there are sweet moments in dealing with this asshole that I really look forward to. And it's when he is put in a position where he has to describe a policy or an idea. Like, actually describe it. It's so fun.
Very difficult for people like yourself, who we all respect so tremendously, the pastors and the reverends and, frankly, even other religions. But
sure.
Frankly, even other religions. I don't want to insult you, but
they were looking at Christianity more than anything else, and it made it. They took away your tax-exempt status if you said anything political. And as you know, I took it out. We didn't get it through Congress, but I took it.
Right. You can't change that through an executive order. You can just deny funds being used to enforce it.
Out through executive order, and you wanted, because I want to hear from you and other people that
you can. You just have to talk about the religious philosophy or the ethics around it, and people should be able to work that out for themselves. They just can't back a candidate. Dum-dum.
Sure. I respect, and so do a lot of other people. I'd say more than anybody else. We can listen to our pastors and the people that we want to hear tell us what to do. We can hear from
tell us what to do, as in who to vote for.
From them again, and you will be in great shape. There's never been such destruction, and I mean.
Also, by the way, can I just remind everybody that Flashpoint put this together? So they're interviewing him. I don't know how long they did, right? But clearly it wasn't a long interview, probably 5-6 minutes even. And they're slicing it up a bunch. They ask him one question, and then they're throwing in bits of the speech from the event that he did. There is an editorial decision being made by Flashpoint on what elements of the speech are important to them. The last clip that they showed was him saying that he had the election stolen from him. I'm sure there were other things he could have talked about that they could draw from just as easily, but they chose to put that one in, just like whatever this next clip is.
A war that would have never been had. There's no way Russia was going in. I know Putin very well. He was not going in.
Which is just gibberish.
There's no way that Israel would have been attacked.
It was attacked the entire time he was president. There were bombs every day he was in office. There was rockets from Gaza the entire time he was in office.
October 7th, we wouldn't have inflation. You wouldn't have had that.
If we didn't have inflation, we wouldn't have a currency.
Travesty in Afghanistan, the most embarrassing day in the history of our country.
This is rattled.
October 7th last year, it's almost a year. What a horrible attack in Israel. It was a shock to me, as I'm sure it was to you, that we saw so much the pro-Palestinians, anti-Israel, anti-Semitism across our colleges. What's going to happen there?
It's very interesting, but...
Yes, what's going to happen there? I don't know. Free speech protections for the ones who aren't violent, and anybody who engages in violence or trespassing will face the legal ramifications that the state or the environment, the city that they're in has, because that's not a federal rule.
Christians and I think maybe more than Jewish people, it's hard to believe, they want to protect, in this country, they want to protect Israel. Very religious Jewish people are very strong on that.
They're very strong on that. He says that you're very strong on that. These people, you guys are very strong on that. He says that phrase every so often, and I think it's just based on volume. Maybe just these people are loud about it, or they're consistent. So consistency and volume to him means strength. Maybe.
But I tell the Jewish people all the time, you got to fight for Israel, because Israel's under attack. Israel's really in a lot of trouble.
Great. Thanks, brother. Thanks. That's great. Cool story, bro. You're on it. Yeah, I'm sure that's news to them.
Frankly, if they didn't have me in there, I think they would be in much more serious problem.
You're not in there. You're You're just a fucking citizen. You're not in anything. They don't have you in there. It's been almost a year since October 7th. Israel still exists.
As you know, because you're a big protector and a believer in Israel.
Yeah, you know, because this is your thing. You know, tell me what you want me to say about what I'm forgetting that I'm supposed to say. But very strong. You're very strong on this and very respected. And as a respected, strong voice, this is something you believe, and I don't have to tell you this, that it's important beyond importance, that people know that what's going on is not what should be going on. Fuck me.
And I think everyone appreciates that very much from your standpoint. And there have to be some more, but we have it under control.
More what? Listen to this. Listen to that shit again, real quick. Wrap your head around what the fuck. He just asked about October 7th. It's coming up. There's, you know, obviously the 1 year anniversary of the actual attack, and it's still going on. Clearly, there's a chance that on the anniversary of it, there might be some sort of act of terror, both in Israel or perhaps in the region or here, or some other attack on a European ally to, you know, about this. I mean, so clear. That's one point of concern. How do you deal with that? We got to be vigilant against that. Our military and our intelligence agencies, along with the police, are looking into that as well. And we're working with our allies. If we can provide intel to Israel or some of or Qatar or any of our other allies in the region, we will, to make sure that things are peaceful and we can find a peaceful resolution. Like, this is not hard. I'm just literally improving what a State Department official would say if they had any fucking brains. And he's like, and this is his response.
We're a big protector and a believer in Israel. And I think everyone appreciates that very much from your standpoint. And there have to be some more, but we have it under control, very strongly under control. Then you have guys.
There have to be some more, and we have it. It has to be under control, and we have it very under control. And no, you don't. What do you mean we, you dumb motherfucker? You're not president anymore. You haven't been for years. You weren't president during this shit. That was your point. It wouldn't have happened if you were, right?
Like Schumer and Pelosi and all of these people on the radical left Democrat side, and they are absolutely against Israel. There's no question about it. They are.
Yeah, there is some. I would say there's some question about it, considering the budgets they passed and the weapons and support that they gave as well. I mean, some question. This is just stupid.
Are absolutely against, and Kamala is totally against. You wouldn't even meet with Bibi Netanyahu. She wouldn't do it. And
she did meet with him. She met with him, and then she had a press conference right after she met with him and talked about what she said to him. She doesn't like him. And yet another reason why I'm voting for Kamala Harris. She met with him. She supports Israel and the right to defend itself, but she thinks he's a fucking scumbag, and she's right. You could do that. You can actually, you know, you can hold those two thoughts in your head at the same time. It's not difficult. I mean, it's not difficult if you're not Trump.
But he goes to Congress, he makes a speech, and she refuses to be there because she's at a party. And you know what she could do? All these things that she complains about right now, she should go and fix them.
Yeah, okay. This is part of his stump speech, too. And again, Flashpoint is picking this little slice to put in after what he just said. So they're creating a narrative and kind of patchworking what he said at the speech and afterwards together to make their own point about her. But this odd thing about her complaining, I think he locked into that because, he's always projecting. He complains all the time. But the other part of it is maybe he's playing to the idea that women complain all the time, and he's just trying to draw attention to this idea that bitches be whining, right, or something, while he's doing it at the same time. I understand. But that's the only place I can see why they kind of workshop this idea, because they clearly worked on it. Like, he talks about it enough where somebody thought it was a good idea beyond just him.
She shouldn't even go to the debate. She should go back to Washington, D.C. and fix all the things.
Yeah, this was before the debate, and he was like, it's ended up like he's like, we shouldn't even do this. I shouldn't even have to do this. She should go do something else. You got things to do. Why are you bothering me?
Things she's complaining about. There's no problem.
Your book just came out, Save.
Hold on. Things she's complaining about, there's no problem.
Things she's complaining about. There's no problem.
Your book.
They edited that. They were like, the things she's complaining about, there's no problem. And then they cut to Gene the Jesus Machine asking him a question. How is that? How does that help his argument? At this point, maybe they just switched editors, and the editor's like, "Fuck this dude."
Book just came out, Save America. I quickly looked.
Oh, okay. So he only agreed to the interview if they help him sell the book, like Mark Levin.
Through it today, and at the back, the last few pages, of course, detail what happened to you that day on July 13th. Yep. And there's one next to the last page. You said, "I'm not supposed to be here, except for Almighty God." Kind of go back to that and
yeah, tell Gene how afterwards you went back to you picked up the Bible and you went back through some passages and you dove into the Psalms and you found comfort in the idea that one day you will meet Jesus and you will feel that you did everything you could on God's green earth to be the best person. I'm just fucking with you.
Tell us, the people that haven't heard from you about that. I know you talked about it at the convention.
Well, God, you got to think it's God because my son said, how could he miss? It's got to be God or something. I mean, God really just hates firemen, I guess. I don't know, God.
But talk about what that meant to you when you were going through that.
Well, the odds are, and shooters will tell you, in fact, my two sons are like
Same shit.
championship shooters.
No, they aren't. They're not championship shooters. They shoot at rare animals and kill them on rich guy safaris. Like, fuck off.
Eric is here with us today, and he said that from that distance, about 130 yards.
Whoa, wait, what?
Is here with us today, and
who is?
In fact, my two sons are like championship shooters. Eric is here with us today, and he said that from that distance, about 130 yards, there was zero chance almost that...
No. Hey, asshole. Don Jr. said that. The first time he told that story, Don Jr. said that to him. So either he can't tell them apart, or he fucked up the first time, or he's fucking up now. Don Jr. specifically. He's like, Don, my son Don said, blah, blah, blah. Like, we watched all this. He's just forgotten. I guess they're dipshits. They blend together.
They can miss. It's considered very close. Sounds like a lot, but it's not. And
what's it like? I don't know what the fuck that is. But what's a 2-foot putt like if Secret Service snipers are yelling at you and a police officer said, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing?" How's that 2-foot putt go if you know someone's about to open fire on you? I mean, if we're going to use this fucking golf analogy horse shit, it's like a 2-foot putt. Okay, a 2-foot putt where you know you're going to die if whether you hit it or not. Somebody is down past the flag, is sighting you. Cops are yelling at you. One guy crawled up on the roof, and I guess you tried to take a swing at him with your putter. Let's follow through on this dipshit analogy. You swung at the cop with the putter, and then you went back to trying to hit, and now it's a 2-foot putt. Cool. Great. Yeah, the odds.
But I not turned to my right sharply, but turned exactly to the right at a 90-degree...
No. Horse shit. Like, again, there's a piece of glass. Fucking piece of glass. The bullet went by, but there was a piece of glass that hit him.
Angle. I wouldn't be talking to you today. So God saved me, and maybe...
So God saved me. Obviously, there's more pussies to grab. He said, it's not your time, and I want you to lose more money to E. Jean Carroll, and dying's too easy for you. I want you to go back to Earth, go back to life, and I want you to lose the election to the brown lady, and then I want you to sit through 4 court cases and spend the rest of your life in jail Because he obviously has plans for me.
Maybe, and I like to think that he did it because he wants me to save this country for you and for people that think like we do.
Sorry, save it for people who think like we do? So God wants you to create thought police? Is that how this works? I'm just channeling my inner Alex Jones without the acid reflux.
And that was a.
This is the shot we pointed out before where he's getting teabagged. At least Flashpoint had the decency to cut the balls out. They framed it lower so you don't see the dude's testicles sitting right on Trump's forehead.
The amazing day, but I didn't even realize it myself. I got hit right here in the ear, but had I been turned in even a slightly different direction, and it was about an eighth of a second, I was in that right position for an eighth of a second. So that's God. And
why? What? I mean, why did he want to graze you and kill Corey Comparator? If God, I mean, honestly, why not just, if it's God, why not lightning struck the dude on the roof?
And
I'm just saying, I gotta go with it. It sounds more like Satan tried to do you a favor on the earth plane. I that's closer to how this shit works, right?
Maybe that's the reason why. And that would be very nice. I would be very happy with that. And this
would you? You'd be very happy if God was personally keeping you alive, but letting Corey Comparator die, shielding his fucking family from bullets. You feel good about that, do you? That feels good. That you can live with that.
This time at the beginning of the speech, I said, pull down that chart.
That's not true at all, by the way. He'd been looking that way. The guy tried to shoot him in the face was the idea, whatever timing he had. And also, just for the record, if Clarence Thomas's ruling on bump stocks had actually happened earlier, we wouldn't even be talking about this asshole in the present tense. He'd be dead. Because if Crooks had a bump stock available to him at that time, the delay where they were taken off the market for a time, he would have just, that'd been that. He'd have been dead.
And if I didn't turn, I wouldn't be speaking with you today. This isn't just migrants coming in. These are.
And if you'd have leaned forward to pick up something, and if you'd have drank a glass of water, it might have been shot out of your hand. And if
people coming from prisons, jails, coming from mental institutions, insane asylums, a lot of countries that are not exactly friendly to us. They're coming in at levels that we've never seen before. They've opened.
They're getting off. And by the way, this is all footage from 2020.
Up the border. She is the worst. Kamala Harris has to be stopped. She's radical left. She's a Marxist. She doesn't know what she's doing.
This is called bearing false witness.
And
by the way, if she's a Marxist, then the terrible shit she's doing is based on that she knows what she's doing and she's attempting to carry out something terrible. If she's a Marxist and doesn't know what she's doing, maybe that's why corporate profits are high. Right? I mean, again, this goes to like Joe Biden is so corrupt and so incompetent that he doesn't even commit any crimes. He's so bad at being criminal, he's good. It's so stupid.
When you look at what's happening to our...
Yeah, when you look at what's happening. Does he think everybody's not looking?
Our country, 21 million people, I believe, are in. Not the 16 that they say, which is, of course, tremendous. That's bigger than New York.
Also, recidivism numbers, it's 10.3. We have about 10.3 million undocumented people in the country. Lower than 2015, lower than 2018. Again, Title 42 allowed people to come and go and come and go and come and go and come and go. It was just like a conveyor belt. It created an industry for the fucking cartels to bring drugs and people in. The first time you pay to go across, but once you're tossed out, you can try again. It never gets a ding on your record. You never get fingerprinted or processed. So you can always try again and again. If you go through under, I think it's Title 8, if you try to get into the country illegally, they process you. Once you're processed, if you try it again, you can never have citizenship. You can never declare asylum. There's all sorts of rules, so that's why it drops off. Title 42 is the reason we have that. Also, the building of the wall created an access road on the Mexican side where there used to be difficult terrain. There's now a flat road. You can just roll a suitcase down.
21 million people, probably more than that. I don't even know if they can count the gotaways because there's so many.
Well, a couple things. One of the ways you cut down on the number of gotaways is you increase the drones and the technology at the border, which was in the border bill that this asshole killed.
Borders are, Harris. We are being conquered. We're being actually conquered if you think of it from within.
Yeah, that's what's happening. We're being conquered. Yeah. Yeah, like you might think you have a life, you don't. You're just waiting for your Haitian cat-eating overlords to tell you what to do.
Kamala, she was a so-called border czar. She's the worst border czar in the history.
And she's only so-called border czar because you so-call her that. She's not a border czar. They deal with the border because they're the vice president and the president, but her job was dealing with the South American countries where there were a lot of people coming up directly, not at the border, not when the problem is acute, but the cause, the disease, not the symptoms.
The world has never been anything like it. We have an open border, and millions.
No, we don't.
Millions of people are pouring through.
No, they aren't.
And we're not going to take it. We're not going to take it. We're going to get.
Sure, you are. Yeah, you are. If you weren't going to take it, you'd have been for the border bill, right? Even if it wasn't perfect, you got to stop everything you can, right? What if that would have stopped the one order of fentanyl that killed a bunch of people and you didn't do everything you could? What if I mean, any terrorist who certainly gets through from the point he killed the border bill is on him, right? Because how do we know that, in the number of people they were able to tamp down on without those resources, the ones that got away and got through because the border bill would have stopped them are on him? Yes?
Get the criminals out of here very quickly. And, we have great police. And
also, under his belief and under, Stephen Miller's, everybody who crosses the border illegally is a criminal because they've broken the law of crossing into the country. Whether they have a genuine asylum claim or not, whether or not they, could, through different programs we have, become citizens over time, they're just considered equal to a criminal. There's crossing the border illegally, and then there's being a murderer. Same tier of crime, according to this asshole.
If they're allowed to do their job, which they will be, we're going to get them out.
They are allowed to do their job.
Out very quickly.
Again, where's the footage of the Customs and Border Patrol going, I can't touch them. Here they are. Just go that way. Border's wide open. Where? Show me one scene, one single video anywhere of Border Patrol agents going, we can't do anything with it. We just let them go. Orders of the president. Border's open. I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing here. Anybody seen a single video like that? Anybody seen and by the way, if Trump thinks that's how Customs and Border Patrol works, either shame on him or shame on them. Does he have footage of that?
We cannot have a country like this. I'm here today to declare that we do not have to live this way. And when I'm president of the United States.
You were president of the United States and you didn't do anything.
We are not going to take it anymore. We're not going to take it anymore.
Obviously, you're not talking to Vladimir Putin.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming. Can I pray for you real quick?
Yes, please. Love it.
Oh, dear.
Holy Father, Lord, we pray for President Trump. Pray for divine protection. We pray
Can't even close his eyes during the prayer.
For the spirit of wisdom to come upon him as he navigates.
He's like, why are you still touching me? Is touching part of the prayer on your planet?
These last 8 weeks leading into the election. Father, not only do we pray for protection and wisdom, we pray for favor and to motivate the
favor. Lord, do us all a favor. Elect this man so that he can teach me his secret pussy-grabbing technique.
American people to get out and vote en masse like they've never voted before. In Jesus' name.
Like they've never voted before.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Oh.
And he's a terrific guy. This is a really great one.
No, he's not.
I don't say that about many, but
you say it about anybody who kisses your ass. Gene the Jesus Machine is a terrible human being. His entire ministry is a farce. He's a piece of shit. I try my best not to question people's faith in the abstract, but in the specific, I call bullshit. Gene the Jesus Machine and everybody at Copeland Ministries is involved in a shitty money grab. They don't believe a single fucking thing they purport to that Jesus taught. Not a single fucking thing. The reason Trump likes him is because this guy just did a magic spell on me. Right.
Stay with him. Stay with him. He's a fantastic man.
Thank you.
Oh, God, does every smile hurt? Does smiling hurt that much? When Satan's up your backside, when he's crawling up through your innards and laying eggs in your appendix and putting all kinds of burly barbs up inside round your heart, wrapping it in thorns and all that stuff. When the Lord is trying to fight him off in you down from the heavens, looking down on you, hoping you pray to get the demons out of you. Does every smile sting like you're peeing after a long weekend at Laura Loomer's house? Good Lord. Look at the bullshit, like, click. Nothing's, again, I would like to remind you that this asshole's sales pitch about Kamala Harris is that she's phony. Watch him shut down this smile.
Fantastic man.
Thank you.
Here's the smile for the picture. Watch the smile as it goes away. And just gone. Like, there's no transition back to, like, normal human emotion. There's no, like, yeah, we're good. Like, there's no just, what are you doing? They're not even letting him sell the book. They just...
To that, I hit religious liberty in America, hit the Johnson Amendment, hit the border.
Yeah, what are you, post-gaming your shitty little 4-minute interview that you had to drag out with clips from the speech?
He says, I do these interviews all the time.
You're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you, sir.
I mean, I get interviewed by professionals all the time. He does a better job than just about all of them. It's really pretty amazing, right? Better heart. That's why.
Our audience will love that. What a great
Our audience will love that.
interview with President Trump. We were able to talk about everything from the Johnson Amendment to the border to the election to funding police. The reason he's here, I'm telling you, it was a
You covered the reason for the event itself. Weird.
great moment, and I'm telling you, there's just something about President Trump in the room.
Yeah, I know. You know who also thought that? Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah. Used to party together all the time. What the fuck is this weird music? Okay, and then they go, is there... I don't know who the fuck these guys are. Freeman Ambassador to Israel. He is selling his book. Okay, so this is whatever. Okay, now, let's go to... By the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Share the show out. You wonderful, amazing people. Welcome. If you're just joining us, this is Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide, the greatest live stream on the internet, bar none. I'm Hal Sparks, who's busy Hal Sparksing right now. And if you don't like Hal Sparks, this is the perfect place to come and dislike Hal Sparks. I mean, where can you do it up close and personal? Just saying. All right. Now, The Five had a reaction. Or as I like to call it when Gutfeld's on, the 4.5. Because I'm going by wits, not height. Actually, that'd be more like 2.5, but whatever. Yeah, here we go. This is The Five reacts to the first Trump-Harris debate, which is clearly going to be unanimously. He won. She obfuscated. It was 3-on-1, and her sorority sister fucked up everything. That's probably where we're going to go. Let's see. Hit that like, share the show, etc., etc., etc.
I'm Dana Perino, along with Judge Jeanine Pirro, Harold Ford Jr., Jesse Waters, and Greg Gutfeld. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five.
Oh, I always thought it was because of the number of people. So it's just on at 5, the 5 on at 5. Is that where we went? Shit. It's even lamer than I thought. Yeah, 5-point star. Yeah, pentagram. I get it. Witchcraft, evil, sure. Satan. Yeah, gotcha. I'm with you.
Well, apparently, Greg, it was a showdown for the ages. Donald Trump and Kamala Harris squaring off for their first debate. The night starting.
By the way, her walking over, shaking his hand, has been, it had more of an impact than even I thought it would with people, because they're like, yeah, she just walked right into his fucking space. They didn't, usually he'd walk right to the middle. He wasn't going to do it. So she walked right into his fucking space, answering the question, what happens if you're confronted with somebody like Vladimir Putin? I'll treat him like the broken little boy he is, too.
Out with the handshake and quickly turned into haymakers.
She doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. She's
Run, spot, run is 3 words, not, never mind.
going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat.
During the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom.
Wait a minute. I'm talking now. If you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar?
Donald Trump was
You didn't notice how they cut off the, don't lie.
fired by 81 million people. What you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
Quiet, please. She's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years.
All right, but the big controversy of the night.
Listen how Jesse's already fucking talking. They're playing the little clip parts. Listen to Jesse Waters. I'm fairly certain that's who that is. Just already fucking mad. So good.
She's been there for 3.5 years.
All right, but the big.
Did you hear that? I agree with that.
Big controversy of the night wasn't the candidates. ABC moderators David Muir and Lindsay Davis getting called out after aggressively fact-checking Trump 5 times, but 0 times for Harris.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born.
President Trump.
Right. Yeah, that, again, if you're going to call them out for fact-checking him, I wouldn't have started with the one that is most egregiously obvious.
As you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. I did watch all of these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker. The question was about you as president.
By the way, he wasn't being sarcastic, lost by a whisker. He wasn't. That's why he pushed back. That wasn't even a fact check. That was just him stating his opinion. And if you have a low opinion of David Muir, then you'd keep it and you'd go, I don't give a fuck what you think. But then if he says, I didn't detect any of that, it seemed like you were being earnest. That's why we asked the question. Seems to be why the pushback. But again, not even a fact check. That wasn't a fact check. That doesn't qualify. So already full of shit.
Not about former Speaker Pelosi, but
And here are the questionable Harris statements that they let go.
The detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing. What did...
Yeah, that's not a lie. That's just because he's backing away from it. I mean, can I take you back in the Wayback Machine to Donald Trump's Supreme Court justices who all said to the person that Roe v. Wade was settled law? Fact check. True. Right? It's the same thing about, like, everybody's a fucking, all these guys, all these fucking school and office shooters are all lawful gun owners until they ain't. I support lawful gun owners. Oh, so you support crooks taking a shot at the president? No. Up until the point he took the shot, he was a lawful gun owner. The minute the bullet left the chamber, he pulled the trigger and he made an act to kill somebody else or engaged in the subterfuge to get to the point where he could do that, then he's no longer, then that's a crime. So...
The president then, at the time, say there were fine people on each side. Donald Trump, the candidate, has...
He did. By the way, this is the weird part, too. They push on the Charlottesville thing. They really do grind on this stuff. And to them, to those that are still grinding on this, I would say, fuck you. You're a weakling. That said, he did say there were very fine people on both sides. Doesn't argue that. The idea is that he mitigated some of it, making up that some of those people that he was talking about weren't the ones with the tiki torches, but the ones who, just want a statue of Robert E. Lee for history's sake or whatever. Yeah. That's not the defense he thinks it is. And it's not a walk back saying that there's just some people who are very fine people who want a monument to a man who fought for slavery on American soil, specifically during the existence of America. I'm not a big fan of these people who are like, fuck Columbus and take down the Columbus statues or any of that shit, applying modern rules on some of those folks. But this is very distinct. This is American soil. This is America. This is the United States of America. And the Confederacy sought to end that. They were an insurgency. Having fucking statues to an insurgency on your own soil, like giving them as a tip of the hat, is fucking nuts. It's a terrible standard. At this point, why don't you just have the 9/11 hijackers while you're at it? They wanted to end the United States too. Why don't you just have 3 of the 9/11 hijackers, just add them to the Robert E. Lee statue? We didn't agree on a lot. We both like slavery, but we do share one thing in common. Fuck off.
Said in this election, there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking.
Meanwhile, the Harris campaign wants a second debate. Donald Trump says he's mulling it over.
Well, when you don't win, it's like a fighter. When a fighter has a bad fight, gets knocked out, or loses the fight, the first thing he says is, we want a rematch. So we won the debate according to every poll, every single poll. I think that, are we going to do a rematch? I just don't know.
Yeah. There's also, when you're in a prize fight, let's follow through on this analogy. When you're in a prize fight, or a fight of any sort with someone, and then you lose, and then you talk shit about the other person and say, I lost because of the referee. I would have won, but they were, they did something illegal and they weren't called on it. It was all, slanted against me. I would have won, and I should have won. And in fact, we did win, right? If you say that, then the other prize fighter in every situation would go, let's do it again, motherfucker. I can kick your ass again. Sure. Let's do it someplace else. You don't like the ref? We'll get another set of refs. Let's do this again, dum-dum. Right? That seems simple enough.
Think about it.
Greg, there's been big electoral shifts. Seismic things happening in this campaign. Joe Biden's debate, Trump's the assassination attempt on his life, Joe Biden dropping out, and the race basically remains.
J.D. Vance fucking a couch.
Tied, and it probably will be after this debate as well. But what did you think about last night?
Well, I don't know who won, but I know who lost. It was the American people.
Jesus Christ. Is there a drawer at Fox with lines like this in it? And you're like, fuck, I don't have anything to say. Go look in the hack newsreel phrase drawer. There's something in there. I don't know who won, but you know who lost? The American people. That's good. Put that in there. Jesus Christ. Why don't you just crack open some fucking fortune cookies with debate written on them?
You could say if you complain about the refs, you're losing. Well, if the refs are corrupt, you got to complain because everybody lost.
Also, if they're not corrupt, then you're just a whingy bitch. How does it? Again, this is we're talking about eye of the beholder stuff. So we're watching their eye of the beholder. This is unfiltered Greg, sort of.
I actually got dumber watching it. I felt like
That's not possible.
Brain was being waterboarded by
what all right, what brain?
The sheer nonsense of these idiot moderators. But we were so sidetracked by the mechanics of the debate.
Greg, back up, start again. You wrote 4 things down. The first thing is just a hack line you picked up. Slow down, chew your food.
Muted mics that we forgot about them. I honestly don't know how anyone can decide who won the debate. That's like trying to guess the price of a painting that you suspect is a forgery. You can't objectively decide a winner in a sham.
I think the price would be whatever you're willing to pay for it.
Competition. This is truly the first DEI debate where
oh, fuck you, dude.
one candidate was subjected to a high standard and the other was held to no standards at all.
Well, they didn't have to hold her to the standard. She held herself to the standard. See how that works? Trump only got held to the standard because he refused to do it himself. Anyways, so you were saying something about they're eating the dogs.
Remove the essence of fairness to achieve an outcome.
The essence of fairness.
That could not be scored. You cannot score that. That is why you can't say who won or who lost.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. I mean, here's how you know who won and who lost. The job both of these people are going for is president of the United States. It is a high-pressure job that requires emotional and psychological resiliency. And she was able to trigger this dumb motherfucker 7 times to Sunday with the easiest pokes, stuff about crowd size, stuff about Putin, stuff about Project 2025. All she had to do was lay these things out, and he took the fucking bait every time, which is disqualifying. That's how you know he lost, because you shouldn't let somebody that's that easily triggered near the nuclear triggers.
A liberal should be ashamed that your
And I'm not. Oh, he's going to tell me why. Okay.
candidate needed the odds to be stocked so heavily in their favor.
Okay, stacked in their favor, not stocked, and she didn't, and they weren't. The odds would be with the person who's done this 7 times or 6 times, and this was their 7th, right? If you've never done a debate before, they're not stacked. They're not stacked in your favor. You're ice skating uphill from the very beginning.
For many Americans, Harris and
He's very mad, though. I gotta say, you can tell who. He might say he doesn't know who won, but you can tell from his face he knows who won. You notice that? You think he'd be, if it was clear that Trump won or he put her away? Also, who gives a shit? If he's got the best words and he's the best communicator of the best political movement ever, who gives a shit if it's 3 against 1? Just stomp them all and move on. It was like, how many Republicans were on the fucking stage against him during the primaries? Didn't he walk all over them? Now he can't beat 2 chicks and a news dude?
entered as a mystery and exited as a mystery.
Yes, that's what I like about her. She's mysterious.
And that was the goal, to keep her under wraps. So anyone who attributes that to Kamala's skill is an idiot.
Also, you made up that standard and that plan and then asked whether we believe it or not based on your assertion that it even exists, you strange little boy. That's not a thing. She didn't enter mysterious and exit mysteriously. She told how she grew up, what her family life was like, what got her into Law and Order, how she became a DA, why she chose to do that. Then she was an AG. Now she's vice president. We've known her for a long time. She's not a fucking mystery. She explained why some of her positions changed because ethically she maintained her beliefs, but the circumstances changed over time, right? It's pretty easy. Meanwhile, they're eating the dogs.
Congratulating Kamala for the debate is stolen valor.
From who? Poor Trump.
You should be congratulating David Muir and Lindsey Davis, who did the heavy lifting. And so calling that a debate is disinformation. That's like me going into a bar with Tyrus and inciting a brawl and then later taking credit for all the broken jaws.
Yeah, but let's be honest. If Greg walks in and incites a brawl, it would just be a brawl of laughter.
It's just
not with him, at him, to be clear.
By the way, you're going to say,
oh, good. He's going to get to the point finally.
Oh, how do you know that it's a sham? Kamala confidently and casually unloaded all the hoaxes. the Fine People hoax, the bloodbath, Project 2025, the abortion ban, these things have all been debunked.
No, they haven't.
Would she have done that knowing that there would be consequences? She did that knowing there would be no consequences.
Sorry. So Trump said they're eating the dogs, the cats, knowing there would be no consequences or thinking there would be no consequences? I mean, the David Muir actually had spoken to the city manager. Trump brought that shit up on his own.
No follow-ups at all. This was actually a betrayal of knowledge.
Well, no, there was a whole question. By the way, there was a section, I think Lindsay was the one who asked it, which was you were against, you said you were against fracking in 2019 in the primary season. You said you were against this and you changed. What changed? And that triggered the ethics question. She knew it was coming because they've been talking about it. The Republicans have been talking about it. It was bound to come up. If it didn't, she didn't have to have that answer, but she had it ready in case it was brought up, and she nailed it, which is what's upsetting to Trump because he tried to fucking freeball it and lost.
Being the act of solving a problem. And we had agreed to what the problem was. Who is Kamala? The debate
we did?
Deliberately chose the opposite path.
Yeah, and instead of who is Kamala, they're like, what the fuck is that? Is that what the whole debate wasn't who is Kamala, but what the fuck is with him? Right. Which is, by the way, how the reaction to Trump now all the time.
Instead of the opportunity to gain knowledge, they chose to cover it up and betray the public.
Thank you for caring about us, Greg. Thank you, man. God, it's about time. It's about time. You know what I mean? Because thank you. I was like, what about my needs? And Greg's there to protect us all.
I went by this stupid assumption that maybe they would ask Kamala some real questions and follow-ups. I was tricked. I'm like the person who foolishly assumes.
Okay, he wrote this down. I think this is going to be an attempted joke. You can tell largely by this kind of slapdash ways trying to roll into it and where he glances at the paper to kind of be like, okay, this part will lead me to this joke. Here we go.
A partner who...
See, there it is. Okay, wait. Here, I'll let him back up. This to the first time he looks at his cheat sheet.
I was tricked. I'm like the person who foolishly assumes a partner who cheated on him would not cheat again. But the media always cheats again. And we have to remind ourselves, they have their interests before your interests.
All right, that seemed more like less of a joke, more of a confession, Greg. Right? That just... That the media always cheats. You are the fucking media, dummy. You have 2 shows a day on Fox News. This is a giant fucking corporation. You know how I know you're a giant media corporation? Your business, your company had to pay hundreds of millions of dollars in damages for defaming a company, and they still exist. That's how big Fox is. They were able to pay that money. They settled for almost $800 million. That's how we know you're big media. So stop acting like you're a fucking podcaster that's screaming into the wind. Good Lord. And fucking put on a suit and tie, you asshole. I wear a t-shirt because I work from home. What the fuck is that business?
I was talking to a friend today who reminded me of the phrase of Fred Astaire, or Ginger Rogers had to do everything backwards and in heels. That's Republicans.
Yeah, exactly.
And you always...
Yeah, yes, totally. Republicans are the Ginger Rogers in this situation. I thought Trump was the master media manipulator. If you asked him, holy fuck, you asked Trump what he, in the Ginger Rogers Fred Astaire, I'm the Fred Astaire, I'm the masterful dancer, and everyone dances to my tune, right? That's what he would say.
Don't I know it?
But and you know when you wear those heels, it is really
and backwards.
Really amazing.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
All right.
Okay, Greg. In that statement, Ginger Rogers is not wearing her heels backwards. You fucking dum-dum.
Harold Ford Jr. Do you disagree?
Yeah, I have a slightly different opinion on this. I think a couple of things. It's good to be back around the table with everybody. First off, what I saw last night was two candidates who each had to do. President Trump had to do one big thing. He had to stay disciplined on the issues, and I think he had a number of things to talk about, from border security to tariffs. I thought one of his more effective moments, because it was an uneven performance. I think it was frankly an uneven performance in skewing towards not a good performance on his part.
Skewing towards not a good performance. Would a good performance include their eating the dogs?
Vice President Harris talked about tariffs, and then he said to her, "You kept my tariffs," and he didn't come back to it. It amazed me that the lack of preparation on his part. I thought when Joe Biden on June 27th, his team, he was unorganized and unprepared. Donald Trump struck me that way, too. I was on with Harris Faulkner yesterday on Brett's show, and she said that one of the things she was going to be looking for at the very beginning of the debate was who took the high road. I thought when she shook his hand and said her name, I thought those of us who followed this closely, it was something we watched. But I think the American people like that decorum, and it was a good thing for her to do it. 3, he just missed opportunities. It's almost like if you play the king.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Harold Ford's a Democrat, allegedly, and the 5 should be called 4 against 1, because that's what it really is. They have one liberal allegedly on there. Jessica Tarloff's on there, and she's fantastic, but she's on maternity leave part of the time because she just had a baby not too long ago. So he fills in for her on the regular, especially when they don't want a really strong defense of Democrats or Harris. They bring on him and tell her to stay home that day. If Jesse and fucking Greg can't handle the criticism, they go, "Can you bring on Harold Ford? He'll be very moderate and kind of in the middle about stuff and stuff. I can't take Jessica hanging my balls out to dry. I can't do it." So, anyways, that's why. And again, just the edging towards not good.
Kansas City Chiefs, and you complain at the end of the game, they had Patrick Mahomes. Of course they have Patrick Mahomes. You've got to build a defense around him. And I thought that there were a lot of
the refs.
But even I tell my kids, Greg, in all seriousness, when you're complaining about the refs in a game,
you're losing.
You're not only losing,
just said that.
You're letting your team down. And
whoa, that's an even bigger dig.
If everybody believed, and Jesse and I talked about this last night, there's a belief, and I think there's some truth to it, that President Trump has to go up against the media in ways that certain candidates for president have never had to do.
Right, because they never bragged about grabbing women by the pussy or called a woman too ugly to rape or were busted getting money through multiple Deutsche Bank accounts from Russian nationals, weren't hiding classified documents in their shitter. So yeah, he's definitely got more media scrutiny than most. I mean, I guess since Nixon or maybe Reagan at the height of Iran-Contra.
Knowing that, you prepare for that. And he seemed to be just
lazy, stupid, egomaniacal, all 3.
Just skillfully unprepared. He took every bait. He took every pump fake. It was like a great basketball player would get in foul trouble first 8 minutes of the game because they committed stupid fouls. He did that a lot, and he makes the point that he doesn't want us, that if you want a second debate, that means you're losing. Look, this race is super tight. 24 years in a row, you've had super tight presidential races. I don't think anything moved. But the question is, how many new voters might have been invited to vote? And she achieved one goal. She conveyed seriousness and calmness. She didn't talk about any issues. She didn't talk about the switching of positions on issues. And hopefully at some point.
Yes, she did. She directly addressed that. She specifically addressed it. And I got to say, the smartest take on a switch on an issue, fracking in particular, but any of the other issues that they were talking about, it was actually the smartest version of that I've ever said. My ethics have not changed. And since this point, when I chose this, I've been consistent because that's what I believe now and that's what I will do. New information will change your mind. Once I got the new information, that's where I'm operating from. But she's like, my ethics have never changed, but and from this point forward, I did this. That's how she answered it. And it was a great answer. It was very smart. It was strategically very strong. So pretending she didn't address it is even a bigger lie. You can not like how she addressed it. You could think she needs to address it more, but saying she didn't is just I mean, there was a whole segment on it.
The country deserves to hear it. I agree with
Trump said she's like this and she changed her mind. But he couldn't even take yes for an answer and say she changed her mind on all these things. She's taken my positions on some stuff. They didn't even remove my tariffs or whatever. But she probably will later. She's going to throw them out. And we're like, well, then you're basically telling the voters that she was telling she's going to ban fracking, that she's going to go back to it. And they shouldn't worry that she's just saying this to get elected, which just says more about you than it says about her, because that's what he does.
With you wholeheartedly on that point, Greg. The country deserves to hear why she moved on border security, how she has moved on the economy, and where she differs with President Biden. Hopefully we get a second debate for those
Harold,
issues.
that was a lot of sports metaphors in one answer. So I was really impressed with the pump fake. Judge, one of the biggest issue for Americans is the economy. And in some
and boxed wine
assessments, that was the issue he did best on, and that was one of the first questions. So if people only watched those first 20 minutes, maybe they walked away with that.
Yeah, she was actually asked, if I recall correctly, the first question, we better off now, than we were. And she started all this aspirational, inspirational ambitions and this and that. She didn't answer any questions.
Yeah, she did. Also, for the record, there was no opening statement in this. The candidates couldn't assume there would be one. And as the candidate whose main job was introduce yourself to the voters, primarily, she addressed her, I want an opportunity economy, which is her version of bottom up and middle out, right? Clearly, union support, all the stuff that she and Biden have been. I mean, that's why they're a ticket. They agree on a lot. She's got specific priorities she would do, but there's not going to be a giant change. That's kind of the point. And she introduced herself. She did an opening statement on the first question because she wasn't given a chance to, introduce yourself to the American people, and then we'll move on to the next question. Trump just took her bait on the first one and just started blathering.
I came away from this saying to myself, 30% of Americans don't know what Kamala Harris stands for, and they still don't know what she stands for. But what I came away with that knowing, and I agree with Greg.
What was that 30%? You mean the maggots who think she didn't say, yes, I'm a Marxist, or whatever.
The voters lost last night. The voters lost for several reasons. And this segment is about the legacy media. To me,
you are on the legacy media, you fucking asshole. Oh, my God. You're all on the legacy media. This is Fox. This fucking network's been around since the 80s. Shut up. You are legacy media. I don't want to hear it. You're talking on legacy media right now. You are making the point that you have standing to talk about this shit because you're on Fox, because you're on in the afternoon on Fox. You're on the 5. That very well means that we should listen to what you're saying because you are part of the legacy media. Shut the fuck up. That part drives me crazy. Stop acting like you're a fucking indie band, you assholes.
ABC didn't care about the truth. They were pushing libelous questions. The questions were like a push poll. Like you call someone up allegedly trying to get, find out what people are thinking. But, isn't it true that the rooster killed the duck or whatever? And, Yeah,
it's great. Great example. Thanks. Yeah, it would help if you actually took one of the questions from the actual debate, which just happened, and you have an entire staff, because you work for the legacy media, that could write them out for you.
The person said, yeah, of course it's true. And that they would actually go to Charlotte.
Oh, wait. Also, what was the push poll question again?
Isn't it true that the rooster killed the duck or whatever? And,
That's the push poll. That's her example of a push poll. Isn't it true that the rooster killed a duck? No. I didn't see a rooster or a dead duck, nor did I see... What is the answer? How confident are you that the rooster killed the duck? Very confident, sort of confident, mildly confident, not confident at all. What the fuck are you talking about?
The person said, yeah, of course it's true. And that they would actually go to Charlottesville and ask that question as though that hasn't already been debunked.
I don't think they did. I think she brought it up, stupid. Did you watch it? Or were you just fucking hammered?
And she never had to answer anything. And the major networks sanctioned these lies as if they were truths. And
by the way, the fuck you. The Charlottesville statement was true. It's worse if you listen. He's being a racist asshole. He just because he can dance around some things to try and soften the blow when he realizes he's fucked up does not mean he didn't mean what he said what he means. Get the fuck out of here.
And that is how the network and the legacy media put the final nail in the coffin. Donald Trump told us about fake news. Last night was the end of the legacy media. And if I...
Yeah, no, not at all. I don't know if you know this, but ABC had a broadcast today, and I will predict ABC News will be doing reports about Black Friday come the Christmas shopping season. I'm just going to throw that out there that's going to happen, that they're going to exist, and you'll be doing stories about that. You're going to use stuff they've written. Yeah, there you go.
If I were ever to do a debate again, I would not do it on the legacy media.
Why? Why? Are you that weak? I just got to say, if I was asked for a debate on any of these things, now this is different if you're running for president and you're managing these kind of things, or it's a high office or whatever. But on an individual level, if I was running for office, fucking Senate, mayor, governor, all that kind of stuff, and I had the time to do it, shit. Anywhere, anytime, dummy. That's what Trump said, right? Can't whine about it afterwards.
We were fooled by CNN. CNN just kind of sat there, but you know why? You know why it was level with CNN? Because CNN was complicit with the Dems. They wanted Joe Biden out. So it was a fair debate. This was, we got to take Kamala's side. Oh,
sorry. So Trump only won that one because CNN was trying to take out Joe Biden. And if they hadn't been trying to take out Joe Biden, Biden would still be in the race because he won that. So Trump, Trump lost to Biden after all because it was fair?
We got to make like January 6th. Every time she lied, they would not fact check her. She says...
He did, by the way. One of the reasons why they didn't was because he rebutted those things. They didn't have to chime in. Like, for example, when he said they kill babies and they set them aside, Harris did not push back and say, nobody is killing a baby after it's born. The moderators did. Because she didn't. In most of these situations, by the way, he didn't, any pushback that occurred, that's been debunked, but he said that. So you can take him seriously or believe him. I don't know that if you believe what he's saying, you would believe the moderators or vice versa, right? But they didn't jump in on these things unless somebody else didn't. The thing is, quite frankly, Harris didn't push back on a lot of stuff because she was so busy selling her pitch, basically, because she's new and she has to introduce herself and all that kind of shit. That was what her focus was. Trump jumped on that shit. He was like, that's all a lie. That never happened. Debunked, and then moved on to something else. They didn't have to turn to her and go, he says that's a lie or whatever, that he didn't actually say that. And then spend fucking 2 minutes going, oh, because he tap danced around like, I don't support white supremacists, but then he tells the fucking Proud Boys to stand back and stand by instead of stand down. And we're supposed to think that's just a slip of the tongue. We're supposed to just, what he meant was stand down. He said stand back and stand by, but he meant stand down. He's just fucking dumb. That's the argument. That's where the conversation has to go.
140 police officers were injured and some died on January 6th. What police officer died on January 6th? Ashley Babbitt died.
They died as a result of it.
Died on January 6th.
Yeah, Ashley Babbitt punched a guy in the face so she could be first through the door, or he'd have been shot and killed, and then she either would have also gotten shot because she's fucking insane and gone through after her and gotten killed too, or she'd be standing over the dead body of the dude she punched in the face. Ashley Babbitt had a knife in her bag. Try going to the Capitol or any building, try going through TSA with a fucking knife in your bag and fighting back if they don't. I don't recommend it. I'm just saying, I don't recommend it, Judge Janine.
And then they go on and on and on, and third-term abortion. She wouldn't answer the question. They didn't push for an answer. And,
What's the question? Trump is for third-term abortions. Janine, let me say this to you, because you're no longer a judge. Ma'am. Hey, lady. Kaflagan. Anybody who's for an exception in abortion for the life of the mother is for, quote unquote, late-term abortions. Because that's when the majority of the ones that have to be done to save the woman happen. Some of them happen earlier, but the vast majority of emergency abortions happen when it's going to kill the woman. Late in the pregnancy, 7th, 8th, and 9th month. Nobody's doing it elective. Nobody thinks it should be legal elective. Nobody that's anywhere near power. It's 340 million people in this country and billions worldwide. I'm sure there's some fucking nutcase who believes that you should have it's your child, you made it, so you can shoot it till it's 18. Whatever. It seems to be the right wing's feelings about kids in school, for example. If I want to let my kid be in a situation where their school gets shot up, they're my kids, so fuck it. Who cares? Right? If that's what you want to believe, that's fine. That's very rare, I would guess, though. Everybody else believes the Roe v. Wade rules, which is abortion by choice up to the point of viability, and then beyond that, only to save the mother. Pretty simple. The period of viability can be argued from a medical standpoint. From an ethical standpoint or religious standpoint, you are either life begins at conception or life begins at viability. Whatever that version is, most people are closer to the viability rule. That's the law, that's the rule, that's the circumstance. The reason they didn't ask more about it is because if you ask Trump about it, he's going to have to step on his own dick. And you guys know that the right wing is going to pack their shit and go, and he's going to lose 20% of his voter base, so he can't say anything. That's why he wouldn't answer the question. When he was asked about would you sign a nationwide abortion ban, he's like, you won't even need one. Believe me, pro-lifers need one. They're going to shoot for one. They want it.
I got to say one more thing. Who the hell do they think they are fact-checking? When David Muir says, well, I didn't get that, what was it, the impression on the whisker, won by a whisker? What was that term that he used?
I don't know. You're the one that's upset about it and thinks he's full of shit and he should have never said anything. Perhaps you should have it memorized or even remember it on a level where we think you actually comprehended what happened. Perhaps.
He said, Sarcasm. I didn't interpret it that way. We're not asking you for your interpretation of what Donald...
That's what the premise of the question was. Trump's rebuttal was not that I didn't say that or I don't mean that or whatever, but he goes, I was being sarcastic. He wasn't being sarcastic. He was not. That's a lie. And Muir was basically defending his question because I watched it. I did not perceive that. So what he meant was, I didn't get that from you. Otherwise, I wouldn't ask the question. If it was obvious you were being sarcastic, which is your fucking lame-ass excuse for why you thought people should shove a light bulb up their ass and drink bleach to cure COVID, you were being sarcastic, which you obviously weren't. You obviously believe that there was light therapy and disinfectant in the lungs would be a way of treating COVID, and you were asking Deborah Birx about it while people are fucking dying by the thousands in the United States of America, and you're president, and you're speaking at the podium. This wasn't like an off-the-cuff at a dinner party bullshit thing. You were speaking at the podium where you insisted on being the only person there. You told everybody to take a fucking powder. You had her sit over there and nod. And you're standing there at the podium going, maybe there's a very powerful light, or maybe there's a cleaning with a very powerful disinfectant where you can get in the lungs because it does a job in the lungs. And I think you said you're going to work on that. And then later on, he's like, I was being sarcastic. No, you fucking weren't. And if you were, what kind of a cruel motherfucker is sarcastic about shoving a light bulb up your ass and pouring bleach into your lungs to cure COVID when you're the dude in charge of the response? Fuck you.
Donald Trump said. And finally, ABC News claimed that Trump was wrong when Trump said crime is going up. They said, no, crime is going down. They're wrong. They lied. And I'll tell you why. Because the FBI has made it clear that 30% of the police departments, including New York City and Los Angeles, did not respond to their request about crime. I have the stat right here.
ABC News debate hosts claim crime is down using incomplete data. This is Trump's thing. They didn't even ask about Chicago. This is bullshit. Chicago and Los Angeles are not reporting crime to the FBI. Garbage. And again, I don't know. That seems like a news article that she's citing, and she's got it very circled. So I noticed that she's done a lot of notes. So let's hey, chat room, come with me. Okay, let's see. ABC host. Sorry, what is it? Debate host claimed crime is down. Okay, there we go. ABC host claimed crime is down in complete data. All right. So ABC host claimed crime is down using input. Okay, this is Washington Examiner. So this is the article. Let me find it. Okay, this would be this right here. ABC and she fucking wrote all this shit down. Hold on. Let me try this over here, and I got to bring this page down so we can squeeze it in here so we can all see what's actually on there. ABC News debate host claimed crime is down using incomplete data. How dare she? Former President Donald Trump claimed during who pointed to data that is missing information. Trump lamented crimes committed by migrants living in the United States illegally during an exchange that followed questions about immigration. All over the world, crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up through the roof, despite their on the roof, I think he said, right? Or to the roof, he said. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof, and we've had a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime, and it's not... Okay. Mir, who is an ABC News anchor, interjected and pointed to a report the FBI that said violent crime nationwide is down 15% in the first quarter of 2024 compared to 1 year ago. Trump, as you know... Okay, blah, blah, blah. I shot back, excuse me, FBI, they were defrauding statements. Trump said they didn't include worst cities. Okay. Trump's remark was partially true. The FBI changed the way it gathered national crime data in 2021, temporarily upending its Uniform Crime Report program through which it releases quarterly statistics about crime in the USA. Okay, 2021, it is 2024. This initial result in some major U.S. police departments, including New York City and L.A., failing to comply with FBI's changed method. This meant that urban areas where crime is more prevalent were left out of the statistics. The FBI's first quarter data this year is still in a preliminary state, and while many major cities are now included in that data, some still are not. Los Angeles, which saw an increase in violent crime in the first quarter of 2024, is among those jurisdictions still missing from it. Okay, so let's see what was the increase. LA Police Department. Statistics show increase in violent crimes and robberies compared to last year. This is March 28, 2024. Violent crime in Los Angeles is up 2.9% compared to March 2023. And robberies have increased by 9.5%, law enforcement officials said Tuesday. During Tuesday's Board of Police Commissioners meeting, interim Los Angeles Police Chief Dominic Choi reported on uptick in violent crimes with 73 homicides this year in Los Angeles, a city of 7 million people, compared to 57 at that point in 2023, an increase of 28.1%. Choi said robberies continue to plague as a crime problem. He also emphasized that property crime is down 4.6% compared to the same time last year. And Los Angeles continues to see about a 3.1% decline in Part 1 or major crimes. So overall, like murders are up in this statistic. Other ones are down and involving like assault and all that kind of shit. So in the mix of those things, crime's down 3.1%. In major crimes. So there's been a downturn in 3.1%. Overall violent crime in Los Angeles down 3.1%. While overall violent crime robberies have risen so far this year, Choi reassured commissioners that homicides are down 6.4% And victims who are shot are also down by 3 to 4% compared to 2022. Choice said, yeah, because it spiked last year and then it went back down and then it ebbs and flows, but we're down from the height of 2022 by a bunch. Choice said robberies with firearms are up 2.9%. Gang-related robberies are up 5.3%. Motor vehicle theft is up 6% compared to 2023. Chevys and Hyundais are still the most stolen vehicles, and the city's seen a 4.6 increase in e-bikes and scooters being stolen. Though there's an increase in robberies this year, Choi noted that gang-related robberies are down 25%, and robberies with firearms are down 35%. Do you think? So this is the article she's citing. This is what I just clicked over. The LA Police Department's full report that is cited in this article that Janine held up and had circled some shit. Now, I guess down further in this article, there will be the part that she circled and highlighted so that she could tell this bullshit apocryphal story. But do you think the other pages attached to it are just the printout being large, or do you think she clicked on this thing that I just clicked on and showed you where the actual fucking statistics she's talking about come from? Okay. A notice on the FBI's reporting dashboard reads that this year's first quarter data is based on data received from 13,719 of 19,268 law enforcement agencies in the country, meaning more than a quarter of law enforcement agencies are missing from the data. What's it like every year? Because our local, fucking podunk is the fucking Mayberry police officer calling the FBI and giving their shit? No. What's it year to year? Always. Do we always get 19,268 law enforcement agencies? Do we? Is it down? Is that percentage down? Or is it up? All right. If it's up, that means the percentage of crimes reported would be up too, because if there was 12,000 reporting sites and you add, you get it. Okay. Meaning more than a quarter of them are missing. Zach Smith, senior legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation, this is probably the part she had, God damn it, said national and even state level crime statistics cannot provide a full picture because crime is such a hyper-localized phenomenon. So we can just make, well, how about this, asshole? Maybe it's so hyper-localized that the murders that happen are none of our fucking business. Maybe people killing themselves or killing each other, in fights or whatever is not indicative of the overall society. And if they didn't have a gun, they'd have a knife. And if they didn't have a knife, they'd have a bat. And if they didn't have a bat, they'd have a crowbar. And if they didn't have that, they'd have a car and they could run them over. And none of that has to do with anything about the city. You can't say anything about Los Angeles based on 78 murders in a city of 7 million people. Maybe that. How about that? If it's so hyper fucking localized, maybe it's just down to localized to the actual people doing it, and the rest of us are just fine, right? This is an asinine argument. Debates about crime statistics, he said, can also become wonky because of all the variables involved in data collection. FBI made it much more difficult and time intensive for local police departments to report their statistics to the FBI. You mean they have to be true? They can't just generalize? Bunch of brown people breaking in cars. Mail that in. He added that many jurisdictions, including some of the biggest jurisdictions, either did not report or are severely delayed in reporting. Then go look at the corrected statistics from 2021. Did they tell you what the truth was? Are they delayed because it takes them longer? Because they process some of these things? Because sometimes in a city that's huge, you have murders that turn out to be suicides or accidents? And vice versa? You have suicides and accidents that turned out to be murder later? Rather than update it, they wait until they've actually put a pin in all the fucking things? Good Lord. That's it. That's the tail end. This is the part, I guess, it's still, okay. Smith also noted that even if violent crime ticked down this year, it's still going to be significantly higher than it was 4 to 5 years ago. Well, 4 to 5 years ago at this point, asshole, was during COVID. And also, what we're supposed to trust the FBI and the city numbers when Trump is president and Democrats run these cities then? We think they're going to tell him the truth and show that they're, and draw his attention? Just lazy. God damn, this is dumb. Okay, back to where we were. Yeah, so that's what she had down at the bottom. It's it's wonky.
So they pushed lies. They defamed the president.
No, you did. You're lying. You're lying about the content of that article, and according to that, depending on which part you're talking about, overall violent crime in Los Angeles is down 3.9% year over year. And it was down last year from the year before. And if you include a city as big as Los Angeles and its overall violent crime is down 3.9%, then that's a bigger impact than some fucking podunk city where violent crime is down 50%. Because 2 people got murdered, and this year 1 person got murdered.
To push Kamala, who answered no question and was the queen of theatrics.
Go, Jesse.
The queen of theatrics. So, what was Trump the king of? Chocolate swirly, just getting his king of wedgies.
Go.
Run, spot, run.
My favorite line. That was my favorite line of the night.
That was one of mine.
My favorite line of the night was he got fired by 81 million people.
First laugh. It might have been the only laugh.
I like the other one. Abdul. I said, Abdul, if there's a problem.
Why is that? All he did was bring up the fact that he made a deal with the fucking Taliban and he released 5,000 Taliban fighters before we left. Before we started pulling people out. I know Trump likes to make a lot of noise about why would you take out the troops first? Why would you take out the army first? Why would you release the fucking criminals first? Why would you release 5,000 fucking terrorists before we start withdrawing? Why? What kind of a fucking moron does that?
Of his house to him.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So Trump wasn't.
By the way, that whole why do you show me a picture of your house, of my house? He forgets to add the part like, why do you show me a picture of my house? I'm not in it because I'm going to kill your wife and kids. I'm going to murder your family. That's why. Classy dude.
Perfect, but Kamala didn't take advantage of it. Trump was emotional, he was undisciplined, but he still delivered powerful messages on the core issues that voters care about.
Yeah. Dogs getting eaten by Haitians. His crowd size is big and he's not boring.
Kamala Harris was very well prepared. She was very composed. But at the end of the...
Like you would want a president to be in a high-stakes situation. Right? Isn't that in and of itself indicative of how capable she is to do the job? She showed up prepared, ready. She controlled the narrative. And over the course of the time that she was there, she pantsed this motherfucker several times, triggered him, and made him flip out. She had complete control over him.
Debate, the voters had no idea what her policies are.
$25,000 to first-time home buyers, renewing the child tax credit, and making it $6,000 for the first year to help new parents deal with that. Increased support for unions and alignment of the Biden philosophy about this stuff, about bottom up and middle out being the opportunity economy. I mean, do you want me to go on? I mean, she would codify Roe v. Wade into law. That's a policy. Using those original rules, which I explained quite well early on. What am I missing?
So her whole strategy was to distract by mocking Donald Trump.
Yeah, but he made it easy. You know, he should have made her work for it. And also, is he stoned or drunk? There's a lot of red eye going on. He looks like Greg Kelly after a cry.
She didn't have to talk about her record or her policies.
She talked about her record and her policies. She did. I covered the whole fucking thing. Live. I didn't play clips. I started from the top and did the whole thing. I was up till like 1 o'clock in the morning. Did the whole goddamn thing, Jesse. Don't be a wuss. Go back and watch it. Watch the whole thing again. Don't watch it once and just draw your fucking conclusions. Watch it again. Then watch it again. And then repeat what you just said.
She wasted a huge moment to be able to tell 67 million people what she stands for. All she...
Again, do we have to go back through it?
Did was say, don't vote for Trump. And
no, she specifically made a point of she wants to build on an opportunity economy. She gave specific examples of how she would help people financially during these times. They would also focus on bringing the cost of living down. Part of that is by lowering the cost of housing, which is the outlier in all of it.
Said a vote for me.
Building 3 million houses by the end of her first term, I think, was one of the things. Removing regulations so that it's easier to build houses. Did they not hear this? Honestly. She didn't even it's not even that she just went, go to KamalaHarris.com and read the fucking fact sheet. She said it.
The media loved it because they just like watching Trump.
You are the media, dumbass. Oh my God, this is fucking aggravating. You are the media. You're on Fox News. This is like, dude, there are 60 people working in the building in front of you. In the studio, in the booth, and in the newsroom. You have makeup people. You have fucking camera operators. You have sound guys. You have interns. The whole fucking building is full of people. You are big media. You are the media, dum-dum. You guys claim you're number one. If you're number one, you're not the underdog. Shut the fuck up. You are a big media organization trying to spin reality to fit a narrative that is beneficial to your corporate handlers. How's that sound? Because that's exactly what's going on. Fuck me. This asshole acting like he's like they're doing Wayne's World.
Trump get teased. But if you're an undecided voter, how did Kamala Harris explain what she's going to do to help you get a house or help you secure the border?
$25,000 for first-time home buyers, building 3 million more houses so that there's more supply, therefore lowering the cost. And then the border bill, she said she would sign it. Everything that's in the border bill that Trump killed, she will sign it. And that's what she said. Dude, if she didn't say it, I'd be stuck right now. Like, and I feel like I'm letting her down because I know she said other shit too.
She didn't do it. Trump missed a huge...
You're an idiot. Yes, she did. $25,000 for first-time home buyers, 3 million more homes but in her first term, lowering the regulations about home building to increase the amount of supply, and then she would sign the border bill. Fuck you. Like that...
Huge opportunity to define her. He said it a few times, but he could have been a lot more precise.
No, he couldn't. Since when? How could Trump be more precise? You really think Donald Trump is capable of being more precise? Really? You think he's got that tool in the toolbox? He could have nailed it, but he just missed out. It was a missed opportunity. No, he's incapable. He's a fucking blather machine. And again, look, for all these people who are saying like, oh, he's a master manipulator of the media and he's so smart and all this kind of stuff. Everybody who says that sounds like a dude who lost their rent playing 3-card money on the fucking L. I don't want to hear it. He's not smart. You're a sucker. He's not sharp and aware of the issues. You're a fucking dumbass. You don't understand the issues. He is the Dunning-Kruger candidate. Other than that, I have no opinion. You're watching House Sparks Megaworldwide, by the way, and I think that's awesome for all of us.
And beat that drum harder. He did tire to Biden. My favorite line was, what are you talking about? Go to D.C., wake Joe up at 4 in the afternoon, get him to close the border.
Hey, dummy, when he said that, it was 9 o'clock at night. You're on the East Coast. It's the same time in D.C. It's not 4 o'clock. Like, that means Trump thought it was 4 in the afternoon. He goes, let's leave right now and go there and wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It was 9 o'clock at night. Donald Trump thought it's dark outside at 4. I don't know what the fuck, where that came from. He was just so committed to being insulting that he didn't realize it makes him look like he doesn't know what fucking time it is.
Yep. That's all he needed to do. And
well, then he couldn't do it. If that's all he needed to do, don't hold your breath, asshole. That's like saying all he needed to do was do a no-look pass to himself and then dunk the ball. Right. Sorry. I just like saying, hold on. Tell us all he had to do again. Say all he has to do. Tell us again, you dumb motherfucker. What's all he has to do? Say all he has to do. All he had to do. All he had to do. All he had to do, apparently, Jesse Waters, was not be Donald Trump. If he could only pull that off, he'd have fucking nailed it.
My favorite line was, what are you talking about? Go to D.C., wake Joe up at 4 in the afternoon.
I love that.
Yeah, go to D.C. at 9 o'clock at night. By the time we get there, it'll be 11, and I'll think it's 4, because I'm a fucking old fart.
Get him to close the border.
Yep.
That's all he needed to do. And
also, if that's all he needed to do, why would they need the border bill? Well, that's exactly it. And you could close the border bill. You could fucking close it. You could. You know how you do it? You declare a healthcare emergency, like a pandemic, and then everybody has to shut down fucking everything. So Jesse Waters' solution is bring back COVID. Brilliant. All he had to do.
And the signature moments that you see on the internet after this, she didn't have any. She didn't have any.
Except the new meme where she's looking at him like he's fucking stupid that everybody is using as the I'm looking at you like you're fucking stupid now meme. She printed a fucking meme, dum-dum. Meanwhile, Trump was making butthole mouth.
Benny, Trump had them all. And that's what's going to reverse.
He had them all? What? Name one. What do you have? What do you have? Say all he had to do again.
Reverberate. She whiffed at the first question. And then just temperamentally, I found her evasive.
Evasive. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Okay. Jesse Waters' opinion about a woman, any woman, is at best useless and unwelcome, and at worst bordering on as gross as Jeffrey Epstein and Trump laughing at each other's jokes. Fuck off.
Found her unlikable.
Right. And coming from you, Jesse, literally someone with no friends. Jesse Waters, just like his hero Donald Trump, has zero friends. There is no one that Jesse Waters isn't related to that he could call in a time of need. And it's only because his mother's a fucking Democrat that she would pick up the fucking phone. But on a personal level, there's no one at his work. There's no one that that works on his show or that's a co-host on something with him. There are none of the other co-hosts at the network that if he was having a difficult day or an emotional moment or had something happen to him in his life, that he could call them and they'd actually give a fuck. Not one. Jesse Waters has no friends. And the funny thing is, he and Greg Kelly have so much in common. Because Greg Kelly doesn't have any friends either. He's a miserable fuck too. But the irony is that their individual problems don't cancel each other out if they got together. If they couldn't be friends because neither of them in their brutal, angry loneliness could stand the other. They would just be sitting there drinking, staring at each other, waiting for the other person to finish talking so they could say their piece. That's who they are. So do you think anybody needs a lecture from Jesse Waters on being likable? What the fuck?
Preachy?
We're just getting into the area where he gets into what he doesn't like about women in general when they talking.
And instinctually, I don't know that's going to play with men because men.
Look, right there. Right. Fuck it. I didn't even. There it is. That's it. This is like, as a man, I don't know, maybe it can't be because I'm fundamentally an asshole and I have terrible, I have no ethics and no social skills and I'm a prick and I myself are unlikable. It's that as a man, these feelings that I'm having about this woman saying what she wants to say, are what every man must feel. We don't, you dumb motherfucker. We don't. Especially if, I would argue, you're a real man. A real man is not intimidated by a strong woman. Why would I be? That's the great thing about equality, is I can talk to a woman as an equal because I really think she is. I don't have to twist myself into fucking pretzels pretending that to be that way because HR's staring at me. Like you do. And how you project on everybody else that, oh man, fuck, if I could get away with it, these bitches, like, that's what he thinks. And so he thinks everybody else must be as big an asshole as he is. Fucking stretch Ben Shapiro over here, the evil ghost of Ross, thinks he's having man thoughts. You're not. Jesse, you're not having man thoughts. Man thoughts are stronger than that. Man thoughts have depth. You are a reactionary, petulant boy. You're a fucking boy. Boy. Jesus. I speak for... Get the fuck out of here.
Are predominantly the undecided voters.
What I loved about...
Yeah, Greg. Something he said, it never occurred to me. It's not true, but I'll pretend it is.
Today was that they all got together at 9/11 and only in America can you have a big knockdown, drag-out fight the night before and then get together and do the remembrance and honoring of those victims today. And in America does that best.
Click here.
Well, look at that. The fact that Harris shook hands with him both there and at the 9/11 memorial, and that Bloomberg put that together. It wasn't because Trump reached out. He was too much of a whingy little bitch at that gathering to do that. It was literally Bloomberg that made. Here, I'll show you. Hold on. Let's see. I'll find the. Yeah, it'll be on YouTube. Get back in here. Every time I pump it auto defaults to YouTube on when I type in YouTube on my search bar on here. It automatically goes back to one of the Trump trial days. I don't know why it automatically it autofills that day where he came out and was talking from his little fucking petting zoo that we covered back then, and it just goes back to it. So let's see. Memorial, Trump, Harris, Bloomberg, I guess. We'll do all that. Biden was there too. Okay. Yeah, let's see if this. So here's. I'll turn off the audio on this until we get to something. So many fucking Secret Service at this thing. But here's Biden meeting everybody, saying hi. He sees it's like gets people hello. He sees Schumer. A little quick hello. There's Harris right behind him. He's moving around. It goes over to there's Mayor Bloomberg, former Mayor Bloomberg, former candidate, whatever. There's Schumer saying hi to Harris. Yeah. And you could tell, by the way, can I just say, I like Schumer. I don't love Schumer. I'm fine with him, whatever. But he's okay. There's nothing wrong with him, just whatever. But you could tell that Biden over time is like, okay. Because of how Schumer kind of, I don't know, it seems a little pushier and kind of awkward compared to other people. And you can tell that Harris now has a similar kind of I don't dislike you, but this is not, I don't have time for this shit. Rudy's on the other end. So he's like trying to connect with her. She's like, okay, yeah, okay, real cool. Cool story, bro. I got to do this, and then we'll do this, right? So there's Trump and Vance, and I think that's Rudy back there. And here's where Bloomberg does it. So Bloomberg, bless his heart, comes over and initiates the handshake, which I'm guessing they had cleared with her beforehand. But it's interesting. And look, Trump is watching. Trump is looking. Like, will she notice me? She's busy talking to Schumer. There's this weird godly light on Schumer's head, which looks like he was singled out in the video, but it's really just because it's just light coming through the clouds or wherever they're standing. And there's Vance. How tall is Vance? He's the same height as Trump. So here we go. You tap over. And Biden's just ignoring him. Biden has nothing. He's got nothing to gain talking to Trump or anything, and no reason to. So he's just like, okay. He's just locked in. And he does that. Trump does this thing. He tries to do his little fucking weird power move, that hand yank shit that he did with Macron. Watch. See that? Did you see that yank like that? It's fucking gross. Like, when he does it with women, it's fucking gross. When he does it with dudes, it's like, bitch, what are you doing? Like, okay, there's a thing. I'm going to teach everybody something. Can I teach everybody something? Okay. Please don't use this for evil. Okay, hold on. On your hands, the base of your nail bed right there, right at the edge, right where the skin starts, where the cuticle is and that kind of stuff, on every finger, you can test this on yourself right now. I would recommend doing it on the pinky right there, is if you take your fingernail and you just push down on that spot. It works on every finger. It works on thumbs pretty well as well, but most people, the most sensitive one is the index finger, the ring finger, and the pinky. Pinkies are really the good ones. That if you're ever wrestling a gun or a knife or something away from someone and you can't get away from them, one of the best ways you can do it is you're both holding onto this thing, is you can just get any of your nails. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be even that hard. If you can get a fingernail, you're starting to feel it? Okay. Some people are trying it on themselves right now. Be careful. But if you're wrestling something away from somebody and whatever, and you can get your thumbnail in there and you're boom, you just push on it, right? Just push in on it. A lot of times that hurts so much, and it doesn't really hurt them. It's not that damaging. It's just very little pressure, and it's super painful, right? And if you're not feeling it, you just have to go higher up on the nail, right? It really does hurt, okay? If anybody's ever shaking your hand like that, and they're doing that shit where you're doing that, and they won't let go of your hand, one of the ways you can do it is just move your finger around lightly, and then if you can kind of softly find that spot, just give it a big little pinch right there, and their hand will open up. They'll go, oh, okay. Right? I'm just saying. And I gotta say, if somebody fucking is doing that hand yank on you, the immediate follow up is find that little point and boop. So it's just fucking aggravating. He's such an asshole. Again, only use that for good. And yeah, just saying. There he is. And so she's like, hello. All right, good for you. If I can jerk off. And I know she's like, that motherfucker just yanked my hand. I guarantee that's a story afterwards. This fucking weirdo does this odd, like, pull, like, it's so weird. And he does it on purpose. He learned it someplace. It, like, puts people off their guard. And it didn't work on one of the guys at the NATO summit or whatever, G20, at the G20. Remember the guy he smacked on the shoulder as he walked through, which he was just punishing for not being nice to Putin? He had tried that handshake shit with that guy earlier and it didn't work. Your pinky still hurts. I'm sorry. You got, hey, you did it to yourself. Just say it. Be careful. So, yeah, it wasn't Macron. Macron's the one who, like, totally owns him on it, right? But that's the, that whole, like that. The reason he did it to that guy is because when they were all shaking hands earlier, that guy didn't fall for it or squeezed him a little too hard. Didn't let him do it. Because you can see when somebody's doing that shit, when they're working their way around the room and you're like, here comes this motherfucker. He's like one of these assholes who licks his finger before he shakes hands with you. And then they all do the moment of silence. Biden, by the way, is holding, I believe, his sunglasses during this part. Yeah, these are his sunglasses. Yeah. And some of them are waving or whatever. Nobody's looking at him. He keeps Trump keeps checking to see if they're paying attention to him. And there are some people who are yelling at her, and he's really mad. Some people, because they're yelling at her, yell at him and go, "Love you, Trump," or whatever, and that became news. But it made him very angry. You can look at him. The people are like going, "Harris, Harris, Harris, Harris," like that. The photographers are doing it because they want pictures of her, and that's what paparazzi do. And Trump is like stone-faced. He's so fucking pissed. Nah. Yeah, and he's like, "Yeah, thank you." Okay. And over on the Democratic side, everybody's just talking and hanging out. And Bloomberg's like, "Jesus, what's that smell?" Trump's just finally, the whole time. Poor Bloomberg. Yeah, so they end up standing here, and then they all they're like waving around, and then there's some chit chat, and he keeps trying to chat up fucking Bloomberg, and then they don't. Okay, and then they don't actually show, I don't think, the picture of them at the moment of silence or whatever, where Trump's looking up at the building, going, "Hey, I still got the strongest, the tallest building," or whatever. After post 9/11 down here, anyways. So I went way over. So sorry, guys. Love you guys. Appreciate it. I know Thursday starts late anyways, and sometimes it goes late because of it. But hit that like, subscribe, share the show. It really does help. And I want to thank all the trolls who are with us tonight. I know you must feel angry and impotent, because you are. But I want you to know that if you ever come around to being a normal person again and don't, I guess, feel committed to this flat earth bullshit you've been, living this dome of idiocy, you can eventually, work your way back. We're fine. We're fine. Everybody's fine. As long as you can behave yourself. It's okay. Also, tomorrow, for Friday AI, lots to talk about. Huge moves forward in AI. And I also, for the first hour, I have to start an hour late, just to warn everybody. I have to start an hour late because I'm going to do Dino Badala's show, and we tape it because the East Coast, I think, noon their time. So I've got to do that, and then I'll pop on. So my show will be a little bit later. Cool? Cool. So sorry about that, Andrea, if it monkeys with anything. And hopefully Rob can do 10 to 11 my time. I know he's got stuff to do sometimes, so I don't want to eat into it and assume. But that's tomorrow. Okay. So anyways, much love, and I will see you later. And take care of yourselves, and take care of somebody else. And all right. Let's do that. Come on. Come on, everybody. Hit that like on your way out. God damn it. Come on. You can do it. Come on out in space with me. We're out here. I'm being probed as I speak. Easy there. Trim your nails, E.T. Ouch is right.